Good evening. Welcome to Friday, folks, ladies and gentlemen, friends and neighbors. We made it. We made it to Friday. For whatever value you want to place on getting to the weekend, we did it. You know who you are. But when I say we, who am I talking about? Do I have a mouse in my pocket? No, I'm hanging out with you guys, and I am the Dungeon Delver, better known as Bill Sylvie. It's good to see you. It's good to be seen by you. And I hope you're having an absolutely fantastic Friday evening and that you've got an awesome weekend of fun, fellowship, family, friends, and gaming ahead of you. But anyway, I'm doing great. I'm here. You know, just I'm living the good life. I'm hanging out. What are we doing tonight, guys? What are we doing tonight? We are going to read some more deities and demigods. We have worked our way up to the Babylonian myths. We're going to see exactly how those were represented by Jim Ward. And who knows, maybe we'll get through the entire pantheon, because again, we're not going line by line. But this may take a little bit longer because this is not a mythos that I ever focused on that much. Okay, I stopped and ogled Inanna, but who didn't? So we got that coming up tonight, and then at 9 o'clock, that's in an hour and 28 minutes if you're keeping score at home, and I know you are. We will open up new vistas of terror as we continue our live Let's Play for October of Call of Cthulhu, the game based on the works of Howard Phillips Lovecraft, the febrile mind of Howard Phillips Lovecraft. Well, if I had planned to do that, I would do that, Dungeon Minister, but there might be some people like, oh, the Cthulhu mythos are going to come up eventually. So they're not watching right now. But we will get to those Cthulhu mythos. Because, yes, indeed, we have the unexpurgated version of Deities and Demigods that we are reading from. And it's a PDF, okay? I have a real physical copy. I'm allowed to own a digital copy under the DMCA. I won't tell you where I got it, but I will tell you to seek it out and find it. So anyway, what else have we got going on? Folks, if I didn't mention it last night, and I think I did, but just in case I didn't, the Green Devil Face Tomb of Horrors wall tiles are all done. They're all printed up. I think I shared it in the Discord. I think I shared a picture of the assembly line in the Discord. They're going to be painted this weekend. And then they're going to ship out at the first of the week. So I will let those who have purchased those know when they're ready. And then the next thing that's up is the Owl Bear Trio. Now, I've settled on a price. You get 3 owl bears. You get the Chinosaur. And that's called because when Gary started inventing all these cool monsters for D&D, he went to the dime store in Lake Geneva and bought a bag of plastic Chinese dinosaurs. In and amongst the regular ones were some stuff that just didn't even compute. But he made monsters for them, which is how we got the Rust Monster. That's how we got the Bulette. That's how we got the Owl Bear. So there is a facsimile of that. Because guess what? They stopped making them a few years ago. When they come up on eBay, they cost a pretty penny. Then there is the 1E Monster Manual representation, which is similar to, but slightly different from the Chinosaur, but also where the Owl Bear first appeared ever was in Supplement 1 Greyhawk. And so I have a Supplement 1 Greyhawk Owl Bear. He's more supine. He is walking around on all fours. Got a long neck. But anyway, so that's in there. So you got 3 miniatures. Now, these They're not up for sale yet. Don't start hitting me with orders. Don't at me, as the kids say. But because it's 3 miniatures, it will be $45 for 3 miniatures. You get a 3 mini set. So you can have a whole family of owl bears. Mama, Papa, and little guy crawling on the ground. They're all about the same size. They're not. They're all, roughly the equivalent of 8 feet tall at 28 millimeters. So, I will let you know when I am ready to take orders for those. So don't start hitting me yet. I won't take them until all of the green devil face, which are painted. These are painted until they all go out to the people that bought them. And then I will say, doors open, and it's going to be the same thing. 10 orders available. And after that, pumpkin-headed bugbears, not owl bears, pumpkin-head bugbears. So that's what's coming down the pike in the miniatures availability. Jimmy says, I would love to see a let's read of the original D&D books. We kind of did that already. Back early in the year. I know it was before April, because April's when I moved the studio around. This is the international sign for move the studio around. Anyway, so we already deep dove let's read OD&D. Fear not, Jimmy. It's all that. People are like, I want to watch your show. I've missed your show. Damn it, I can't watch your show. I don't like. This is not Twitch, guys. You don't have to run out and find an archivist. All my stuff is right here on YouTube. If I ever change platforms, it's all coming with me. So yeah, just you can watch it. You can watch it all. So that's what's coming up. That's what's happening. Monday, more Let's Read Deities and Demigods. Tuesday, more Let's Read Deities and Demigods. Then on the back half of Tuesday, Let's Play First Edition AD&D. Wednesday, Traveler. When I get to play, I put my feet up. I relax. I get to have a little fun. Thursday. What are we doing Thursday? More Let's Read Deities and Demigods. It's going to take a while. I'm just assuming that we're still going to be reading it. Friday, same. And next Friday, we wrap up. We finish Call of Cthulhu. That's right, TJ. Just like that. YouTube didn't send you a notification. Well, you know what? Screw them. I know you guys clicked the button. And if you're new here, and I have gotten a few subs, we're 365, 366. If you're new here, if you're just coming by here for the first time, and you haven't subscribed, please do click the subscribe button and click the bell icon for notifications. Hopefully YouTube will send you notifications, but do that. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. Either way, all I ask is that you leave a comment to let me know what you like or what you didn't like so I can do more of it or less of it, respectively. Greetings, Christopher Sims, working and tuned in. Good to see you. You're waiting for me to do a read-through of Saga of Old City, where I read and discuss the entire book over the course of several. If by several live streams you mean like a year plus, maybe, but I don't know that I'm that committed to it. That, Chris, that could take the rest of my life. Hours on Gygax's loving descriptions of each food course every time Gord had a meal, and you'd be fine with that. Well, yeah, me too. Me too. So anyway, that's the preamble. Yes, he did, Jimmy. Yes, he did. Gord and all of the characters were creations of Gary's for literary, not game purposes. He could continue to use them. He just couldn't call it Greyhawk, so it became City of Hawks. When I do my 24-hour live stream this spring, I might just read the Silmarillion. Just sit here and read the Silmarillion out loud. Do you guys like that? Just me just reading the Silmarillion nonstop for 24 hours? I think I'd suffer what is lovingly called a mind break. Just softly weeping to myself. People typing in the text, shh, it's okay. It's okay. All right. Leave us not waste any more time, because horror awaits us in the frozen Antarctic seas. I know the Antarctic Ocean is it. Anyway. So let's get right to it. And let us continue our Let's Read of Deities and Demigods. I'm going to do it. You know, I've just decided that Anniversary 3 will be a full 24-hour live stream. I'm going to do it. So here we go. Yep, there we are. Babylonia. One of the things that I like about this is, I don't care what your personal opinion of Jim is. He is a very erudite fellow. Okay. I can imagine Jim did his homework here. I would not. I've done 12 hours. I have done 12 hours. The origins of Babylonian mythology are extremely ancient. Because of this, misconceptions, duality amongst the gods and goddesses, and similarities between their deities and those of other pantheons exist. In formulating this list for your use, we have consulted many sources, and some of these conflict with each other. This version is designed to be close to historically accurate and still playable in AD&D terms. Understand, and still playable in AD&D terms is a big watch phrase. You could probably append it to almost, if not every set of myths and legends in this book, both fictional and grounded in the real world. There are adjustments you have to make. I mean, you know, would Zeus or Odin or any other European or Mediterranean or anywhere in the world for that matter consider themselves equal with one another? No, they would consider themselves the top dog. You have to make adjustments. You have to make adjustments, and Jim points it out there. And he kind of gives himself a little bit of protection, a little bit of distance, and says, if you wish to look hard enough, we are sure that you will find many points of disagreement with certain historical sources. This is unavoidable where so many sources conflict. Okay? You know, I'm a Christian, and I am entirely certain that Dungeon Minister and I could come to gentle disagreement about readings of the same passage in the scripture that say the same things. Now imagine when you've got moderate changes concerning the same systems. The high priest of this religion is often the king of the country and must be a combination of magic user cleric of great power. All clerical types must remain aloof from the normal populace in temples or shrines and work to further the state politically as well as spiritually. Interesting. Through Anu and the priest king, all money collected by the shrines and temples is dealt out. The ruler also distributes all political power through appointments. The new moon is looked on as a time of great ceremony and also a time for the people to pay money to the temples as a sort of tithe to appease the gods. Kings are expected to go forth occasionally on quests with other clerics of differing levels and bring back riches, usually through conquest, to further the sect. Punishment for failing in duties is always severe for the cleric. The breaking of minor laws requires fasting, prayers, meditation, and sacrifices of animals and goods the cleric owns until the deity makes it known through the higher level clerics that everything is forgiven. Sacrifices are commonly made in gold or precious jewels. Major clerical transgressions include helping the enemies of the sect, communicating with intelligent creatures or demi-humans, all of whom are considered demons other than humans, and dealing with humans of the opposite alignment. Now let's back up there for a second. Intelligent creatures or demi-humans. Your dwarf, your halfling, your gnome, elf, half-orc, find themselves in this setting. A priest even talking to them is a major setback. Jimmy, I think that was during the fourth rectification of the McKettrick supplicants. These crimes are all dealt with in the same manner by complete denial of spells at all levels and excommunication from the sect, unless the erring one will take up a quest which will greatly aid the sect, either in terms of monetary riches or loss of power to other cults. Ouch. The traditional attire of all Babylonian clerics is a wraparound kilt of white with red cuneiform writing along the hem. Gentle wash cold, hang dry. They have been known to enter battle, but always in the rear of the action as support. Advancement within a sect is through the payment of gold to the high priest court. Note that this is not the same as level advancement. Increase in ability does not guarantee increase in temporal power. Priests of a successful nature were known to be given great and highly dangerous quests to prove their worthiness to stand by the king. Now, here's something interesting. We're going to come to a set of myths soon that faintly crosses over into the Babylonian myths. You could make the case that some faint tentacles perhaps. Now you're quite welcome, Jimmy. I'm glad you caught it too. Back at you, bud. Some of the Cthulhu mythos come back into this. And this is a nice drawing by David S. Force. It actually looks better in smaller format than this. Like, I always thought it looked good in the book, but blown up here, it does not. I think that's quality of scan making it look a little rough, but yeah, it's David S. Force, male and female Babylonian clerics. But if you have read all of Fritz Leiber's work of Fafhrd and Grey Mouser, you know at one point that Fafhrd and Grey Mouser find themselves in ancient Babylon. And they're completely comfortable with it. They feel as though they've always been there. It is a fantastic story arc. I mean, it is simply amazing. And it has some awesome horror overtones in it. So, let's talk about the deities. Anu, god of the sky, chief of all the Babylonian deities. Greater God, obviously. We have our 400 hit point tag, as Jim said he would do. He is lawful neutral A 20th level cleric, an 18th level fighter, magic user, illusionist, see below. And oh boy, look at those stats. Interestingly, strength not maxed out at 25. Everything else is. You know him, you love him. He's Anu. This god appears as a man. A strong breeze constantly blows in the direction of his gaze. Beings casting things at this god must make a saving throw against disintegration at -4 for both the being and the thing cast. His voice is the voice of all leaders, and any being must make a saving throw versus magic at -4 to resist his commands. He can summon any dragon type, except for the king and queen and any other types of dragon royalty, to fight for him once a week per dragon type. He has a brass mace that strikes for 2 to 20 at +7. I'm sorry, 2 to 20 points of damage, plus his bonus of 7 points. So you can say 9 to 27 points of damage. He is said to have created the heavens and earth. All of the other Babylonian gods bow to his authority. Anshar, god of the darkness and night. Thank you, Chris. Adept's Gambit. That is what I'm thinking of, and it is phenomenal. I love Adept's Gambit. We get liches and phylactery, golems, space and time travel, polymorph, curses, so much good stuff. I'm not saying that's where those things came from. I'm just saying that they're in there. Adept's Gambit. Thank you, Chris. See, that's my audience is the smartest fantasy gaming knowledge grounded in fantasy literature audience on the internet. If you want to hang around the people who know the most about the roots of our hobby, of the fantasy corner of our hobby, come here, subscribe, and you get stuff like that. You get guys just dropping science every live stream. I'm like, oh, I don't know this. They know it. So Anshar is a lesser god of 300 hit points. He is chaotic evil. Worshippers line, neutral and chaotic evil. Neutral evil is the worst evil. Symbol, black sphere. Plain pandemonium. 20th level cleric, 18th level fighter. Really high stats. Not like Anu's got going on. We gotta zip over to the next page. Always appears as a dark-skinned human and only appears at night or in deep darkness. He casts darkness. Oh. Yay, mouse. He casts darkness beam for a maximum range of 300 yards once per melee round, and it affects flesh for 40 points of damage per strike. His symbol is an event horizon. His symbol is a sphere of annihilation. Body parts hit may never be regenerated or healed. Anshar can only teleport into areas of shadow or darkness. The god is unaffected by any source of light or light reflector. The god can grasp spells out of the air as they pass him or hit him and save these spells or toss them back right away. He can alter one spell effect per melee round in this manner, and the chosen spell will have no effect on him. When preparing for battle, he usually stores one of every 9th level spells given to him by some other god, so that he starts out with something to cast. Just a little something. Here's Wish, here's Time Stop, here's Alter Reality. This storing or returning ability comes from a godly attribute that lets him sense what spells are passing through the area. There's a 200 spell level storage limit to this attribute. Good news, guys. We can fill them up eventually. And that's why you don't use this book as a monster manual, kids. Dahak or Dahak. I'm not sure if it's a short or long A. 3-headed dragon spirit of death, chaotic evil. He's bad. He's got loot. He's got treasure. He's worth 24,000 experience points. This monster has no corporeal form unless it is attacking with its bite. The rest of the time it is ethereal. It appears to the world as a huge 3-headed dragon, the color of the scales depending on its whim at the time. It will only eat the flesh of lawful good creatures, and it never goes hungry. The monster can breathe any type of dragon breath at any time, but the creature enjoys crunching things with its teeth. It is able to negate any magical device permanently with a touch of all 3 of its heads at the same time. Oh, I would definitely read Kujal with Walken's voice. Ha! So you're telling me I have to find these contact lenses, you put them in your eyes, everything looks marvelous. I'm going to steal them. And if somebody tries to keep them from me, I'll stab them in the face with a soldering iron. Druaga. I always thought this was an interesting guy, just based on his drawing. 230 hit points, damage per attack 35 points, number of attacks 2. He's lawful evil. He's from the 9 Hells. He's got a ruby mace. He's got worms for feet. Not one. Now, his feet don't like taper into wormy appendages. No. Just worms. Just upside down bowls of worms. And he has bad news. And what I always loved about this guy was you've got this nightmare body, this, just 4 legs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 arms. But then you got this kind of just dude looking head up there. Don't you lie amongst the cheeses. And his charisma is, it looks like it's a 4, but I can tell you, having looked in the actual physical copy, it is a -4. His charisma is -4. It just didn't scan the little minus symbol. This being generally never appears to anyone the same way twice. The creature's real form has 8 arms. I counted 7. Ending in talons, is scaled with ruby red hide, and has 4 legs ending in snaky masses. Excuse me. I said wormy. They're snaky. Well, the head is that of a beautiful boy. This combination is so hideous it often causes an enemy to be paralyzed with fear. It can shape change at will. Does that sound familiar? A Babylonian god that can appear as anything it wants? Get a Schlitz malt liquor commercial happening there. We'll come back to that. Can summon any kind of devil except for the archdevils once a day. And numbers 2 to 20. 20 pit fiends, boys and girls. 20 pit fiends. Just let that sink in. And is not affected by breath weapons from any creature. He only fights in person when his soul object, always put in a living being, is threatened. The soul object is the total essence of his being. If Duraga's bodily form is destroyed, the soul object will begin regenerating a whole new being with all the memories of the old devil. The human that has Duraga's souls implanted in him or her has no knowledge of this and will die at the same time the devil's body dies, so that when the human's body is buried, there will be a safe place for the new devil to grow. And body horror. And body horror. Draga will very occasionally send a group of devils out to aid his worshippers, especially those that have recently sacrificed a virgin to their deity. And he's got a 35-point damaging mace, and everybody that hits gets turned into a devil of a random type if they don't make their save versus spells. And then on the flip side, look at this. Gilgamesh. Armor class 6, but that's okay. He's got 180 hit points. You read 4 different translations of the Epic of Gilgamesh last semester in college. Wow. That is 4 more than I have read. Ricky, that is... 10% magic resistant. He's neutral good, the best good. 5th level cleric druid, 12th level ranger, 10th level magic user, 11th level monk, 5th level bard. Just in case you wanted him to sing you a song as he's pranging you with that mace. This hero of legend was a noted warrior, necromancer, high priest, ruler of his land. He's noted for going out and getting things done while others were unable. He has Giga Chat. This task is insurmountable. Do you honestly think you can solve it? Yes. He is a great king, noted for his tyrannical rule. Although he governs well and maintains peace, he usually uses his authorities to satisfy his personal pleasures. It's Giga Chad! He is a great lover of all types of earthly pleasure. He is stubborn and prefers the direct method for solving problems whenever possible. Gilgamesh is a guy we can all get behind. If you're not rooting for Gilgamesh, who are you rooting for? Nobody. Nobody. He has a great fear of death. If he learns any way to avoid death, he will do whatever is required to gain it. One oddity, however, is that his fear of death seldom occurs to him when he's facing a terrible foe. At such times, his courage will hearten him, and he will fight without wavering. Gilgamesh has everything going on, guys. One might even say he's epic. And he's taken the bull by the horns, quite literally. He's trying to get that bull to move. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to steer you guys wrong. Giru, god of fire. Lawful good. Now that's interesting. You don't see that many lawful good deities of fire. But here we have one, lawful good and neutral good, fire enwrapped axe, playing the 7 heavens. He's got all the good stats. He has only a 16th level fighter, though. He's going to have the spell reflection abilities. Yeah, very true, Damien. Yeah, boldest team. Won't be needing those. And then we come to the lovely, the talented. Give her your heart. That's all she wants. Ishtar, goddess of love and war. She's neutral. Worshippers align, all of them. She loves everybody. Her Babylonian mommy. Female hand grasping a blue crystal rod. No. She is a 15th level cleric, 20th level ranger, and a 25th level magic user. It's not nice to mess with Mother Nature, and she has better stat. Her wisdom is low. I don't know that much about the Babylonian myths. It is kind of just sort of a common mid-range wisdom. Is that spot on for her? Well, I can scroll up and you can look at Ishtar's picture for a minute, Dungeon Minister. There you go. She never appears to a worshiper in any form other than that of a beautiful woman. She has the strength of a titan, the ability to shape change at will, and she uses her voice as a constant suggestion spell. Should we all be so lucky to know a gal like that? She wears the headdress of love and war. When she is interested in a male, the headdress forces him to become passionately in love with the wearer. No saving throw applicable. What is it the kids call that? Yandir, something like that. But she must be really interested in that male. When fighting an enemy, it gives the wearer the same power her enemy has. Ishtar drives a flying chariot pulled by 7 enchanted lions, and then we get stats for the lions too. Don't worry. Even if they make it to the playoffs, they're going to flop. Marduk, slayer of Tiamat. That is deep, and that is a very I think Dave LaForce did all of the illos in here, because Ishtar definitely, that looks like his work. Ishtar hasn't heard of consent. Yeah. Ishtar, Dubcon. Your Yandir goddess wants to date you, Dubcon. Marduk, god of the city, wind, thunderstorms, and rain. So Marduk is the god of Miami and Orlando. All right. He's a greater god, 350 hit points. Move, infinite. He's everywhere you want to be. No, he's literally everywhere you want to be. There's nobody else in line. I can get a refill on my... How's it going? And this guy, despite his strange looks, he is lawful neutral. His worshippers line are lawful neutral. Charisma 23, proving that charisma is not all looks, because honestly, if you walked around the city of Greyhawk looking like that and you didn't have the awe power going on, people would be like, the hell is wrong with you? He's a 19th level fighter and a 16th level magic user and a 15th level bard. One of the few non-human appearing beings in this pantheon. He's always shown with 4 eyes, 4 ears, flames shooting from his mouth when he speaks. You're going to want to stand back. And a reddish tinge to his skin. He occasionally assumes the leadership of the Babylonian gods when Anu is preoccupied. This god can borrow any single ability from one other deity in the pantheon. No save throw applicable. I'm going to take that and head out and use it as he sees fit. This ability is effective on anything within sight of the god and can be given back at any time from any distance. In battle, he uses a net made out of the 4 winds. Crom laughs at the 4 winds. I don't. That, when striking, binds the target until Marduk releases the net. The strands cannot be broken, but the god must remain within 50 feet of the net at all times for it to function. The god may create any type of weather condition in an instant and summon 20 dice lightning bolts from the sky at any time. He's a dungeon master. Marduk, god of dungeon masters. He looks like Yul Brynner on Goofballs. He looks like Yul Brynner if we were on Goofballs. So, Moses thinks he can free the Hebrewites. Why are you looking at me like that? You are looking at me like I have 4 eyes or something. Please don't smoke. He is called the Justice Bringer and the Lord of Pure Incantations. His battles with Tiamat are legendary, and yes, they are. And yes, Gary lifted Tiamat right out of the Babylonian myths and stuck her straight in the monster manual. And let us move on. Wind, fire, all that sort of thing, yes. Nurgle. Not Nurgle. Nurgle. Come at me, Games Workshop. He is a lesser god despite having 300 hit points. Neutral evil, evil alignments, 25th level cleric, 12th level fighter, 20th level magic user. You think he'd throw some assassin in there, but whatever. Rules over all things that are dead. Well, I mean, that's an easy job, isn't it? You know, I could go rummage around in the garbage outside. All right, chicken carcass from last night's dinner. I'm in charge. You stay put. Ha! And never uses any form but a human one. Charisma 24. So he's evil, but he's persuasive evil, right? His favorite tactic is to revive the 5 most powerful dead enemies of his foe and have them fight for him. He has the god of anxiety attacks, is what he... Whenever he goes into personal combat, he uses a night black shield that is both a weapon and a means of defense, and has a bonus of +5 when in use. No being can attack the god from behind. He's got the shield in front. You can't attack him from behind. That's just how this god rolls. It also casts a death spell aura saving throw applicable in a 30-foot radius around the god, and no spell of less than 8 level can affect the user of the shield. His worshippers, those that wish success in evil deeds, done dirt cheap, sacrifice good creatures on his altar of black basalt or dedicate the proceeds of evil actions to the church in a type of promised sacrifice. So they're not done dirt cheap. And here's some adventurers fucking around and finding out when trying to fight Nurgle. Oh, my hat looks like a wrapper for Hershey's Kiss, does it? Wom. Another fine work from David S. LaForce. Whoops. Raman, God of Storms and Thunder. Neutral, 325 hits. He is a fighter, a magic user illusion of 15th level with a goodly amount of stats. Listening while you finish up chores so you can play. Been going since 5 a.m. this morning nonstop. I was up a little later than you, Todd, although technically only an hour later, because 5 a.m. your time is 6 a.m. my time, and I got up at 7 a.m. my time. So he appears on the earth in human form with massive build and a rather homely face. When anything hits him, sparks will fly, doing 30 points of damage to anything within 3 inches of his body. No saving throw. His lightning bolts are cast 2 per round and do 30 points of damage each. Spells must be of the 5th level or greater to affect him. His +4 ring mail is made out of cloud vapor, and his mallet, 10 feet long, is often thrown, doing 30 points of damage every time it hits. It returns by itself to Raman's hand. This weapon is usually only used against creatures that resist his lightning strikes. And let's face it, not too many are going to do that and stick around. His neutral worshippers always perform their services at night, but there are many other beings who wish rain that are not of his alignment, and they usually sacrifice expensive liquids to the god to bring on rain for their crops, or just to bring cooler weather. Did you sacrifice something to me? Be a lot cooler if you did. All right. And look at that. That, guys, we have got 45 minutes to go into arguably one of my favorite sections of myths, but I don't focus on it that much. The Celtic myths. Ricky, I wanted to go back to bed. Like I was like, I want to go back to sleep. Toss, turn, toss, turn, toss, turn, toss. The wife is teleworking on Fridays, so I knew she'd be up and there'd be multiple computers on and the TV for news tickers and stuff that she actually is required by work to have on, and typey and taking calls and going, stop snoring, and so on. So it was like 2 minutes after 7. So it's like, I'm going to start laundry, have some breakfast. So what does Jim have to say about Celtic mythology? Let us find out. The Celtic mythology is by no means confined to the British Isles. The beings listed are all in human form, unlike some of the other pantheons in this work. They all have spheres of influence, and these spheres are areas of control for the deities. Any major manipulations of these areas by humans or other life forms will cause the god or goddess in question to take an interest in force and attempt to put a stop to it. The clerics of most of these deities are druids, which are fully detailed in Player's Handbook. All religious services are performed by these druids in wooded areas made holy by the planting of mistletoe and holly. brings to mind one of my favorite Christmas carols is very much both Christian and pagan. It's the Holly and the Ivy. In these areas are deep natural wells or dug pits where sacrifices are thrown. Human sacrifices are made 4 times a year. These human sacrifices are made on November 1st, called Samhain. Okay, hands up, show of hands. Who's been calling that Samhain? Not you, Ricky. I know you probably knew it was Samhain, like when you were born. Most of my life, I was like, it's Samhain. I went to work for a record store and was told by my coworkers that the band that Glenn Danzig started immediately after splitting off from the Misfits was not called Samhain, it's called Samhain. So, the best rendition of the Holly and the Ivy, by the way, is by Steel Eye Span. I highly recommend you look for it on YouTube. The second best is by Bing Crosby, and it's actually a very, very short version. It's like part of a dual track. I can't remember the other song with it, but Samhain. Yeah, I called it Samhain until I was like 20-something years old. Anyway, these human sacrifices are made on Samhain, celebrating the winter's start. Yeah, well, it's somebody's celebration. February 1, called Imbolc, which is probably called like Ohio, because I can't pronounce. So, celebrating winter's leave taking, May 1st, called Beltane. I know that one. Celebrating spring's planting on August 1st, called, I'm not going to try and pronounce that. Celebrating the time of harvest. Condemned criminals are typical sacrifice. Well, I mean, I guess if you've done something horrible that merits a death penalty, you might as well serve the greater good. The greater good. Druid groves are the only places where druids can use their commune with nature spell. These places are often guarded by a group of wild boars and their mates. Wild boars and their mates, just a bunch of guys in tweed jackets that want to talk about economics, and their wives who would love to get you to buy some Tupperware. Steel Beltane radials. Sorry. I think I'm a little too tired because this thing happens where my eyelid starts to throb. Not twitch. You won't see me, getting all blinky on you, but I can feel it there. Druids of 6th level or less wear light blue robes, while druids of higher levels always wear white. Every druid wears a torque, ornamental neck ring, and it represents the god or goddess most favored by the druid. I guess if you steal it, you would torque them off. Thank you. I'm here all week. Please try the veal. It is a work of respect to their deity, and the more powerful the druid, the better he or she makes the torque. The best ones are encrusted with precious gems and imparted with magical powers by their high-level owners along the lines of a +1 or +2 protection ring or a talisman of some sort. Every druid has his or her own cauldron that they make as a first-level druid. This is used to catch all the blood or sap of a sacrifice. Give me your blood, you sap. The cauldrons of 10th level or higher druids act as crystal balls when filled with human blood. All druids of the 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th level will have the symbol of the wheel with a crossed spiral on all their tools, weapons, clothes, and anything else they use. I was going to ask you if you have a torque. So you don't know where it's at. You're torqued off. Celtic gods are very tolerant of the actions of their priests as long as such actions further the sect. Regard for nature is their prime concern, and trifling with nature in any way harmful is reason for punishment. Druids consider themselves as an elite group separate from all other humans. They do not mingle with others and are only allowed to mate with worshippers within their sect. So I almost wish Mrs. the Dungeon Delver was here. And by the way, this has some absolutely lovely art in it. This art is by, I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna grab my physical copy of Deities and Demigods rather than scroll up and around. Oh, Wave of Mutilation, how are you? Because I don't recall having seen this person's art anywhere else in D&D. This is Jeff Lanners did this absolutely beautiful artwork. The scan does not do it justice. The Celtic myths are in just a bog standard Deities and Demigods or Legends and Lore. You want to see Jeff Lanners' artwork up close, guys, in print as it was meant to be. So if you don't have one, track down a copy of Legends and Lore at least to get Jeff Lanners' artwork. It's worth having. And a lot of other great artists' artwork that didn't scan well. And of course, 400 hit points. He's neutral, 15th level cleric, 14th level druid. Interestingly, slightly higher level as a cleric. 18th level fighter, 15th level in magic user illusionist, 20th level bard. And he does have psionic abilities, and he is stacked. Look at the stack. Only his dex is a little off. And let's scroll on up. He's ruler of a very loose pantheon of gods. And what is going on? Okay. Sorry about the scoliosis there. He can only find that 6%. His two primary attributes are the ability to separate himself into 12 distinct and powerful entities. All 12 are fully aware and mobile, but 11 are ethereal in nature and roam the earth with unlimited range, constantly supplying information to Dagda. These beings all have the qualities of the original, but they must stay in the ethereal state at all times. His other attributes include unlimited use of shape change, telepathy, and legend lore. He's very fond of walking the earth in the form of a shabbily dressed man with a large club. He has a strength to break anything in his two hands. He uses his club in battles, and while it does 5 to 50 when striking, plus a strength bonus of 14 points, it's also magical in that when the large end touches a being, it acts as a death spell. The small end is able to raise the dead no matter how long ago they died. Only a portion of the body is needed. He can summon forth a cauldron that enables him to brew any non-magical liquid or food, and he sings with a sentient harp that talks in the common tongue and can control weather. Now, the next one I like because he shows up in the Chronicles of Prydain, which of course draws from a lot of Welsh and Celtic mythology. Arwen, God of the Dead, the Dark One. He is lawful evil. Worshippers align all beings worshiping death. He's got the stats: 20th level cleric, 14th level druid, 17th level ranger. See, evil ranger. He's a god. He does it. He doesn't care. Appears as a normal man and lives upon an island in the sea that only the dead can find. His main attribute is the ability to flash 2 death spells from his eyes at any time, striking independent targets if he chooses. He's able to use any spell up to the 3rd level as a 20th level magic user. Would you like 20 magic missiles? Blap. There you go. He'll appear if somebody restores to life a person he wants to stay in his domain. A 2% chance per level of the dead person if he or she worshipped one of the Celtic gods. And he will either fight for the dead person or offer a substitute from the vast ranks of the dead. There's a 25% chance of this offer being made. He is immune to any magical or clerical spell causing direct damage to the body. He fights with a +3 club. Any being touching him with a magical weapon dies. The god of death rides a cute horsey. Maybe that's the horse that Todd keeps seeing. Is that your horse, Todd? Is that what you see? So Arwen shows up in The Black Cauldron, the novel. I don't know if he's in the film. We're not allowed to watch the film in this house. My wife hates it. Brigit, goddess of fire and poetry. Yeah, she's the one you bump into down at the coffee house, you know. It's got that shock of pink down the side. It's got the Annie DeFranco bumper sticker on her guitar case. She is neutral, beings worshiping fire and poetry. Female form bathed in fire. She's concordant opposition. She's got the mad stack of stats. She's an 18th level bard, 14th level druid, 12th level fighter. I would say bard would be just like a given, right, for her. Came across an article about the unexpurgated site of Rothcrogan in Ireland. They're saying it's the largest untouched royal archaeological site. Interesting. She appears as a tall woman with flame-colored hair. Whatever the redheads, guys. She can use any fire spell as a 35th level caster. That's not a typo, gentlemen. 35th level caster. You can have all of the D6s. Take them all. Why? Because Birgit is casting Fireball on you. She loves to hear poetry sung on the battlefield, and there's a 5% chance that she will favor a singer of an original composition by raising him one level for the length of the battle. I'm sorry, I said Birgit. It's Brigid is immune to any attack involving fire, cold, petrification, or dragon's breath. It just... You can try and stab her. She will become surrounded with flames, will cause 30 points of damage to all who come within 30 feet of her. All weapons that are less than +3 will melt when touching her. She carries a staff that turns into a tongue of flame at her command, and it does 2 to 20 points of damage when striking. If any players wish to worship Brigit, and possibly catch her attention by singing during battle, the DM should require that the player make up an original battle song on the spot and sing it while engaging in strenuous activity. DMs, do it. Do it. If you're running your game in a Celtic setting, do that. That is too cool for words. But let us continue. AD&D is boring. It takes itself too seriously. Okay. Diinsect. I don't know. 300 hit points. Lesser god. Physician of the gods. Lawful good. Worshippers aligned. Beings that use the healing arts. Crossed crook and mistletoe. Concordant opposition. 25th level cleric. 14th level druid. 14th level fighter. Can make the injuries as well as fix the owies. 12th level magic user. 10th level bard. Appears as a young man. He can heal any wound or restore any dead being, no matter how long dead. The god will appear whenever any Celtic deity summons him to help. Clerics of the Celtic gods with great power have a 10% chance of summoning if they swear to take a year-long pilgrimage to heal all things knowing hurt, including beings of opposite align. Hey, Ralph, did you just shank that goblin? The one that's barely alive? Yeah, and I'm going to shank him again. Yeah, I gotta cast Cure Serious Wounds on him. I warned you, dude. Failure to fulfill this will result in the god's revenge. His power will not work on beings who have had their head taken away. He never fights in large battles, but has fought with Arwen over some of his dead. In these battles, Diinsect has always won. He's immune to anything that does less than 1/4 of his hit points to damage to his body in one strike. He fights with a +3 spear that does 3 to 30 points, but he's hardly ever attacked because he'll heal friends and enemies alike during a battle. Dunatis, god of the mountains and peaks. Neutral. Worshippers are neutral. He's a 15th level cleric, 18th level fighter. Always appears as a normal man. His main attribute is the power to raise a mountain peak from a flat plain or flatten a giant mountain into a prairie. This is done instantaneously when is often done to destroy forts and the like. He enters battle using +4 armor, and his weapons are boulders. He forms instantly from thin air. He throws these up to 1,000 yards with great accuracy, 8 to 80 points of damage, immune to paralysis, petrification, and attacks involving charming. Another one I'm not even going to take a run at. The Blacksmith of the Gods. And another beautiful piece of artwork there. Neutrals and workers of metal, 329 hit points. He's a hugely proportioned man. His main attribute is the ability to make weapons and amulets of great power for the gods and the very few mortals he favors. The weapons he makes never miss their target, and the amulets have the power to nullify any one specific spell. If his weapons are used to attempt an impossible hit, like a sword strike from 200 yards away, the weapon will hit, but then shatter and bring the wielder in the instant wrath of the god in the form of a thunderbolt, doing 50 points. You're not supposed to use it like that! Ba-pow! It is impossible to wear more than one of his amulets at a time, and if it's attempted, the amulets will shatter, and I would imagine probably the same effects. Effects of the spell which an amulet is designed to protect against will never appear, or in the case of something solid such as a wall of iron, will turn to dust. An amulet can protect up to 500 persons and anything they carry if their hands are linked in series. And he's got a +4 spear. Lug, the long-handed god of generalities. Just nothing specific here. He's neutral. He is a ranger. He is a bard. And he has all the cool stats. He's unique among the gods, and then he can use any one attribute of any being he has ever met. He appears as a tall man with very large hands. Well, you know what they say about that. He has trouble buying gloves. What were you thinking, you perverts? I swear, bunch of degenerates. He never uses armor, and in battle he depends on his one power to defeat his foe. He is immune to any type of control, petrification, or paralyzation. He is a druidical ideal and more fully understands druidism than any other entity. He casts druidical spells at 30th level of magic use, an unattainable level for any other being, and has an unlimited number of these spells. Yes, DDG was 80. And those issues were addressed from around the time the release of the Player's Handbook, which was 77 or 78. So there's a good span here. Manannan MacLear, God of the Sea. He is chaotic neutral. Worshippers are beings using the sea. The symbol is a wave of white water on a green background. He's from the plane of concordant opposition. 25th level cleric, 16th level fighter. And we'll get to his spell use here in a minute. Appears as a large red-bearded man. He commonly goes in battle wearing +5 armor of seashells. He slays seashells by the seashore. He uses a trident that absorbs moisture from the bodies that it hits, draining 1/4 of the total amount of the victim's original hit points. Guess where that also appears? That power, not that trident, but that power appears in White Plume Mountain. When fighting his enemies, the fire giants, he uses a sword called Retaliator that kills every time it hits, magic saving throw applicable, and does 3 to 30 points of damage, even if the save is made. Interesting thing about Retaliator. Corum gets that. When Corum is forged a sword in the Chronicles, is it the Chronicles of Corum? The second volume of Tales from Michael Moorcock about Corum. They give him a sword called Retaliator. That kills every time it hits and does 3 to 30 points of damage, plus strength bonus, even if the save is made. His main attribute is the power to call on any non-godlike creatures of the sea to fight for him at any time and in numbers up to 50. These creatures, however, must get to the battle under their own power. He is immune to any type of magical device while in salt water. And then we have math. I was told there would be no math. He is a magic user. I'm assuming just a hero. Or maybe he is a god. But he is the god of magic users if he is. 18s across the board. Every player that brings a character to your table will have this. So what is math? Math is the greatest of all the legendary wizards in Celtic myth. Thank you. He's given himself the power to hear anything said in a breeze anywhere in the world. He has done so much for the gods that he has been given a torque of the gods, QB. When forced to fight, he uses a rod that turns any being touched by it into a pool of water permanently. Magic saving throw applicable. He also enjoys using polymorph others to turn opponents into animals. Morrigan, goddess of war. She is bad news, even though she's got nice stats. She's got nice stats. She appears as a well-proportioned woman with a hideous face. She has the power to deprive all who face her of their courage as the fear spell. She can fight invisibly, see over 15 miles, and travel on land at any speed she wishes when chasing a foe. It's said that she will strike dead any of her worshippers who runs away from a battle if she is watching. There's a 10% chance she's watching any given battle. 5% chance of striking them dead. 10% chance. 60% of the time. It works 100% of the time. She uses 2 spears, one with a red head and one with a yellow head, that strike for 6 to 36 each and never miss. She's immune to any attack by a magic-using being not of godlike power while she is in battle. Morrigan's servants include 4 demigoddesses of war, Fen, Naaman, Babd, and Maka, who are identical to her in all regards save hit points. They have 200. Nuada, god of war, god of the silver hand. And he is neutral. A silver hand on a black background and is a symbol. He is a 10th level druid, a 20th level ranger, a 12th level assassin, and a 10th level bard. Tell her that, Dave, not me. I don't want to get in trouble with her. I'll say this. She actually appears as a unit logo in Macross and in as a result in Battletech. So Nuada the Silver-Handed, this god appears as a man with an artificial silver hand. He has the ability to give any weapon he holds a +3 bonus and double the weapon's normal damaging. In battle, he detaches his hand of silver and it will enter battle with a weapon as a dancing sword, hitting for 6 to 36. He uses a +4 suit of studded leather armor and a +5 swords that has the ability to fend off any 3 weapons used against its master, no matter how powerful the weapons, and still attack without difficulty. He's immune to any type of magical control spell. Ogma, god of knowledge, the binder, patron of all bards. And that's actually a symbol up there. That's not just like some weird piece of clip art. That is Ogma's symbol. Yeah. I was thinking the same thing, Chris. I was going to make that mention, but I'm like, nah, I just want to continue on. He's a 15th level cleric druid, a 15th level fighter, 18th level magic user illusionist, and 20th level bard. He looks like an aged white-haired man. He's the best wrestler of all the gods. Oh, yeah! and considered their champion when fights occur with giants occur. He's also a patron of things creative and beautiful in men and women alike. His love of song, story, and poetry causes him to often visit the earth in human shape and travel from hold to hold, seeking especially gifted people. There's a 1% chance that he is listening to an original composition when it is sung. There's a 5% chance that if a song or tale was spread by others, he would hear it and reward the creator with great wealth in the form of gold, strangely given by the Lord at the particular hold the person was visiting and performing at. His two main powers are the ability to answer any question after a short period of study, the more difficult the question, the longer it takes, and the fact that he knows the secret name of any non-godlike creature. In Celtic mythology, everything has a name it gives to the world and another secret name that links it to its soul. If any being knows the secret name, he or she can control the creature or being and simply make them die. Say versus death ability. He has +4 chainmail and demands that all his enemies wrestle with him. Let's wrestle. If they win, he leaves the battle. If he wins, they are forced to leave the battle. His strength is such that when facing any being, he will have equal to that being's strength plus his own. He has that all-powerful dad strength. Let me think about that for a minute, son. Yeah. I think you can use Rotel diesel oil in a pinch. Ogma is known as the Binder for his ability to successfully force demons and devils into a special prison of his making where they stay imprisoned until he wishes to bring them out. Sylvanus, very special to me. I found out that my last name, Sylvie, literally means followers of Sylvanus, those who follow Sylvanus. So I'm kind of mentioned in Deities and Demigods. I'm kind of a big deal, actually. 333 hit points. You have to appreciate that lovely symmetry there. Special defenses, Wolfhound. Just like, what? Wait, what? That's a thing, Wolfhound? 14th level Cleric Druid, 13th level Fighter, 19th level Illusionist, 15th level Bard. I've never read the Earthsea books. Are they good? You guys will have to tell me. Ogma 316, I just whipped your ass. So he looks like a man with very long legs. Well, mine go from my hips to my heels. He can control any number of animals and creatures of the forest with the sound of his voice. He has the power to make plants grow and or shrink at any rate he wills. Now, when I was in college, I could just make them shrink. I keep watering it. It just dies off. He wears armor made of leaves that act like +5 plate mail, and his mallet is constantly with him. This +5 wooden weapon strikes for 5 to 50. And oh, by the way, he's got a dog, because of course he does, because all of us Sylvies have dogs. Anyway, AC 3, 10 hit dice, 100 hit points, damage 2 to 20, regenerates 5 hit points per melee round. It's so fast that no matter how many beings strike at his master, the dog will take the damage. It cannot block spells. He's worshipped by druids and their followers. Ha ha ha! Of course I am. And he's a protector of the druids, their groves, their villages, and colleges, and their paths through the woods. There's a 1% chance that he will appear whenever harm is done to a high-level druid or his grove. And this is not a person. This is a thing. The Tethlum. You cut off the head of an enemy, coat it with lime, gotten from a lime pool in the former territory of the dead person, allow several coats to dry to a rock-hard ball, takes 1 day to do each coat, and each coat takes a week to dry. When thrown at friends of the former owner of the head under bright sunshine, it will have the effect of doing damage up to 1/4 of the original hit points of the person hit. If the person hit is a relative of the head, 1/2 of the hit points are taken away. This weapon is usable only once. It's a bit of an effort to go through. It's a bit of an effort to go through. No, don't bow down before me. I lift everyone else up. I'm Giga Chad like that. The wild hunt. It exists in all the lands where druids and their deities dwell as a physical manifestation of the life force that always takes on the same form. It's made up of one huge black-skinned man with antlers growing from his head and his pack of hounds. The hunt appears wherever there is evil in the land, as in the case of an evil temple or an evil priest of the 12th level or greater coming into the area, or what the DM decides is a grossly evil act. When the hunt passes, the noise of the howling dogs or the hunt master's horn can be heard for miles in the night. If this hunt is actively pursued, or if this noise is actively pursued by any being, they will become part of the hunt when they sight the pack and its master. If the hunt passes by any given being, they must make a magic saving throw. On a 25% chance they will look at the pack or join the hunt. When any given being becomes part of the hunt, they may take one of two roles. They will become the hunters or the hunted. The most dangerous game in all of Ireland. You don't want to see me shirtless, Dungeon Minister. You really don't. Nobody wants that. It always begins 10 miles from the source of the evil that summons him. And for each mile near the source, when the hunt is spotted, there's a 10% chance that the observing being will be the object of the hunt instead of the hunter. The hunt will always pass close by the source of the evil that has created it, never going into a building, but going within inches of the building and passing by. After passing by, it will travel on in a random direction for 10 more miles. There will only be one hunt on the prime material at any given night, and will always be drawn to the greatest evil in the Celtic area, decided on by the referee. Again, there's just, free use of Dungeon Master, Game Master, Referee. If it finds a being to hunt before finding the source of evil, it will attack that being to kill it and then disappear as it reaches its summoning source. If the hunt does not find a victim before it reaches its source, it will travel on for another 10 miles, and every being that sees it and does not make their saving throw versus magic will have a 90% chance of becoming the hunted. Bad news. Bad news. And the magic of the hunt will catch up and sweep along any who become part of it, so that whether mounted or on foot, they will be able to keep up with the fast pace the hounds set. The hunt generally pursues on the ground, but it has the ability to run right into the air to fly over obstacles or especially difficult terrain. When the hunted being has been run down, there's an instant melee to the death. All participants must fight to the death or to the best of their abilities, no holding back. The only ways to prevent being killed as the object of the hunt are to run out of the 10-mile radius of the source of the evil, to elude the packer until morning, or to slay the master and his pack. All beings that have been any part of the hunt have a 50% chance of becoming ensnared again with every sighting of the master and his pack. There have been legends of epic battles between the master and his hounds and some of the greater heroes of the past. In these legends, the master and his pack have been slain only to disappear in the darkness and appear somewhere else the next night, proving that the force that creates the hunt is eternal. And we have the master and the pack there, and their stats, they are neutral. They don't care. The master is a 15th level ranger. Jet black skin and glowing green eyes. His head is crowned by a set of stag antlers. Wears a suit of black leather. He never speaks. He runs a few feet behind his pack of hounds and will sound his horn at every 1 mile increment in his chase. He uses a +3 spear in battle, and we have this great picture here. There's the pack. This one's Jim Rosoloff. And there's the master. Truly one of the best pieces in all of AD&D. And then we have the pack of the wild hunt. 30 hit points each, number appearing 20. Yeah, that whole I'm going to fight them all off. Good luck. You're going to need it. These huge black hounds have licks of green fire for tongues and green fire for eyes. These flames do no damage, but make the whole hunt cast an eerie green glow. The beast will never attack the hunted until all the beings that have drawn themselves into the hunt have had their chance to kill. If the pack is killed, the master will then battle the being. The death of any member of the pack goes unnoticed by the rest, and it disappears after the battle is over. The hounds attack as 8 hit dice monsters. We've got about 10 minutes left, so that wraps up. That's a good place to wrap up, because the next mythos are Central American mythos, and we don't want to jump into a new mythology straight away. But what I do want to do is I want to take a minute before I forget to thank not only you guys, thank you for being here, and thank you for sitting through a couple of pantheons, Babylon and Celtic. Central American is Monday. That should be fascinating. What else is C that you guys are interested in? Chinese. So yeah, Central American, Celtic, Chinese, and then I think D is what? I don't know. I don't know if there's a D. Egyptian. We have Egyptian after those. So, what? Oh, I'm sorry. Was there another pantheon that you guys? Oh well, we'll figure it out. But I do want to thank the people who contribute. They help keep the lights on around here in Delvertown. So let me just take a moment to say a special thank you to the folks. And if you wish to help us out, please consider joining our Subscribe Star. You can PayPal direct, you can buy me a coffee, or you can join us over on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. But let me say extra special thank you, of course, to Joshua Garlock, Lord Corion, Ricky Maru, Mobius, Kevin Reynolds, Doomsword Deathmaster, Mark Simpson, Damien247, James F. Keck, William Smith, The Dungeon Minister, Manny Wall, Mark Corey, Kevin Wood, Todd Sharp, Carnivore Farmer, Rob, Jeremy Rule, Bo Ganora, Mikey Mank, Sky Hernstrom, Pete Sullivan, the DM's Council, and Baron Von Headbanger. Thank you guys all very much for choosing to support us that way. That's Tris cool. I don't think there's a Cthulhu Demon mythos in there, Praxis. I'm glad you could catch it too, Ricky, from that side of it rather than being in it like you are on Fridays. See ya. You're thinking about getting the 2-inch Call of Cthulhu box from Chaosium? No, they're in the non-human deities. So we're going to be jumping in here in just a few minutes. We're waiting for our groups to come in. I'm going to have to get I'm going to have to get some water. My voice is failing and my mouth is like gluey, parched, dry. So pardon me for just a minute, guys, while I dip out and I grab a cold drink of water. I'll be right back. Hey, I'm back. Did you miss me? So we're just we're waiting on a couple more people to come along here. We've got a few minutes. We've got a few minutes. Just open chit chat. HPLHS prop set for the 2-inch box is excellent. It is. Sorry, I'm just trying to help some folks out real quick here. We've got a little, just need to, where is that? Looking for, where are my Call of Cthulhu characters at now? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, is it in AD&D? I'm just looking for this here. Check the asylum. Somebody was telling me on Discord the other night, it was on somebody else's Discord, their voice was shot. I'm like, honey and tea with whiskey in it. And there you go. There it is. Copy. One of our users ran into a little bit of a data problem. Good. It didn't copy it. So I'm just trying to get him his character sheet. Control C, Control V. I can't help but like Man of War. No, it's actually really easy. Watch this. I don't like Man of War. I'm sorry. I don't. I don't. All right, let's do this. Let's go over here. Let's do that. Let's do this. Let's do that. Don't worry, folks. We'll get there in just a second because we're now officially running late. Thank you. Thank you so much. There you go. There you go. You got your character sheet now, my friend. All right. So let's, without any further ado, and there has been much ado, and we are currently Doomsword, are you out there, buddy? We got to get oh, there he is. Okay. He popped in. Danforth. So we are currently waiting on James Keck. I can take him or leave him. All right. Before I get in trouble with any more of my audience for my listening preferences, let us welcome back our Call of Cthulhu participants. Danforth Taylor, Miles Worthington,
hello,
Trevor Hartman,
there,
and we are, of course, waiting for Professor James Smith to connect his devices.
Every time you say James's last name, you make me giggle like I'm 13 again.
Okay. Alrighty, I'll take your word on that. So we're, as I said, just waiting for a hot moment here. So to recap, last week, the party finally arrived at Bouvet Island, and who would have thought that here, in the most desolate, dismal place you've ever seen in your entire lives, and many of you have been to Philadelphia, you actually almost witnessed an international diplomatic incident between the British and the Norwegians, but with a little bit of quick thinking, you were able to kind of disarm the situation as best you could. And thus you have been exploring up the side of the low hill that surmounts, there he is, that surmounts the, I guess it would be technically western end of Bouvet Island. And it was just then that Trevor Hartman espied what appeared to be a cave there in the side of that ancient stone mound. So you found it, gentlemen. What do you wish to do?
Oh, we very foul stench, I believe. So
That is correct.
So I'm looking at everybody wondering what they're wanting to do. Shall we press on, gentlemen?
Ooh. We came all the way here.
Okay, so you kind of have to wedge yourselves into this cave that you're pushing your way through, getting uncomfortably close to jagged pieces of rock and ice. But one at a time, you can make yourselves fit. It is a low, uncomfortable space within, but you can see that it widens out in the back. Everyone with the appropriate skill, please give me a geology roll.
All right. I'll be using the green dice tonight for those keeping score at home.
All right. We'll see if they've learned to behave.
Ooh, almost. I had a geology of 10, and I only rolled a 43. So, there you
Oh,
go.
so close. Yeah. So you're in a cave. You know that for a fact that you are in a cave.
I failed. Miles.
I did as
Okay.
well.
I don't have any geology, so
Okay.
These are rocks, I think.
That- you think these are very sharp, porous rocks for the most part, and as I said, it the cave that you're in slopes backwards. Right where you're standing here, it is almost pitch black. There is as close to no light as there can be, and there still be light. You can only faintly see the yawning opening and the stronger odor, foul putrescence wafting from that direction.
then
suppose
I will
I'll,
propose bring a torch.
I'll kick on my flashlight
Ah,
against my better judgment.
Do you have a torch in your inventory?
I have a flashlight.
Okay.
Or torch or a lamp.
Yeah,
Don't want to
this
be eaten by a grue.
flashlights of this day are still fairly bulky affairs, but so clicking it on, again, you can easily see if you kind of go in, it sort of winds around to your left. The rock seems smoother. The ice almost immediately gives way once you're in there. It is still cold. You can still see your breaths before you. It's less cold than it was outside, and the eerie piping of the wind as it blows across the cave entrance is most unsettling. Most unsettling. So, yeah, you can see it sort of winds away to your left and then curves back around on itself.
gentlemen, wait on.
I tell you what, I'll hold the light for you.
Very well. I'll chamber around in my rifle and step forth.
Okay.
Danforth
go
gets
ahead
his
and-
shotgun ready, loaded with slugs.
Yeah, and I'm going to pull out my 32 revolver in my right hand and keep the flashlight in the left.
Does James Smith have, I don't know, a multiple rocket launcher ready or flamethrower, tactical nuclear hand grenade he wants to use? What?
He has all the above ready. That's all you need to know.
I think he stepped away for a moment. He'll be back in a moment.
Okay. Because, I mean, honestly, you guys are spelunking on a completely abandoned island at the end of the world, and you're loaded up like you're going into the heart of darkest Africa or something. I don't. Whatever, paranoids.
Yeah. Paranoid. I think everybody in 1920s Cthulhu land is paranoid, and if they aren't, they soon will be.
Okay, so with your party kind of you start to move forward, and I think it's is it Danforth with the electric torch?
Miles has it.
No. Yeah, I was going to say, I thought that was our fearless reporter.
Okay, Worthington. That's right. Okay, so Worthington, give me a luck roll, please.
All right, come on. 9. I made it.
Okay, thank you. So you're looking around, and the cave broadens out. It becomes a huge avenue. The smell has worsened noticeably, and as you pan it around, you're not sure if it's shadows, but some distance in front of you, perhaps about 30 feet, the floors, walls, and ceiling all have these regular black, it appears to be hexagonal shapes on them. And that's some distance ahead of you.
Oh, there, gents. Hold up. Look yonder.
I raised my rifle.
Do you see those shapes?
Indeed.
I was worried for a moment.
So what are you guys doing?
Start scanning around to see if there's anything that might have made these shapes crawling around on the walls or the ceiling.
There's nothing on the walls or the ceiling. You're not sure if it's just a trick of the bright lights, perhaps shining from minerals, but you do see the shapes are separated, some of them by as much as a foot, some of them it appears to be just a few inches. You're some distance from them yet. And in some of those spaces, regularly, you can see some glistening smears of something orangish, like a bright orangish. You're not sure what that's all about. But as you look, as your eyes adjust to the darkness and moving it around, you realize that these are patterns of holes that are all hexagonal, like
a honeycomb?
Like a honeycomb, exactly.
Give me
I tell you what, give me give me another. Oh, well, you don't have geology, do you?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Have natural history.
That's not really. You're in a place that has no history, so
Okay.
those of you with geology, give me another geology roll.
Okay, green dice. Here we go. Ooh, even better. I failed by rolling a 26. So there's that.
Okay.
I failed as well.
By how much?
60.
Okay.
It wasn't a 99, at least.
Well,
What we have here, gentlemen, is known as Arctic romance rocks. Just another effing rock.
So yeah, it's almost a belt of these things. They're across the floor, on the walls, and on the ceiling. And as I said, they all seem to have these smears of orangish, and the scent is stronger than ever before. The cave goes beyond. You can see it kind of rises upwards somewhat. And there are, you think, paths between the hexagonal holes that are wide enough to walk on. You think you could continue on?
I'm going to inspect the orangish material, the smears, a little more closely. Are they phosphorescent, or do they just appear bright in my light?
No, they just appear bright in your light. All right, so you'll have to move a distance to do that. Let's see. Do you have? Let me see here. I have too many PDFs open that are not that do not suit me. You can give me that 1 in a million biology roll if you want to try and puzzle through this. Have you ever seen?
Sure. Come on, 0-1. Nobody would believe it if I got it anyway. So a failure is just as fine. Oh, they fell. Hang on. Yeah, 54.
Yeah, no idea what it is. It's slimy. It's pustulent. It's orange, and it reeks.
All right, good enough. Anybody want to have a look at this? It appears to be some sort of fungus, perhaps an algae. Maybe something localized to this area. I know of not of such things.
I'll step forward and take a look. It's my 1% chance.
All right, give it a shot.
And it didn't roll. Hang on just a second. What did I do wrong?
You got an extra
Oh, I
time.
got a dot there. Yeah, okay. Or 1D100. Yeah, no, I don't even know what it could be. I got a 96.
What's this orange you speak of?
That looks like jam.
Danforth will put some on his fingers and touch it and then smell it.
It is definitely the source of the odor. You immediately regret getting any on your clothes, and you just want to hold it as far away from you as possible.
He starts wiping his hand on the good professor, James Smith.
Somebody sneezes and you want to keep it. Okay. All right. So, yeah, you can certainly wipe some on the good professor unless the good professor is going to stop him.
I dodge. However I have to.
Okay, I'm going to. Are you like actively like doo-doo gonna put it on you, or do you just like reach out for him?
I'm just gonna like reach out for him to wipe it off.
Yeah, I'm dodging.
Okay, yeah,
however I have to.
He moves back. Give me a luck roll there, Professor Smith.
Use the exclamation point.
Mm-hmm.
Or use actual dice. It's up to you.
I have some in front of me. It might help if I also tell it to roll. 63. So yeah, my luck is awesome. I beat it by 12.
Okay, yeah. So you just kind of jump back a little bit. Your friend attempts to wipe mountain mucus on you. But again, beyond this band of holes that's maybe 40 feet wide, you can see it. The cave narrows considerably, but seems to slope upward.
Are these holes, or any of these holes, do they look like they are open, or are they just covered over with the waxy film and this orangish?
Oh no, I'm sorry. They are all open. The orange is in the spaces between the holes.
Ah, okay.
Tasty. Is there a way to avoid touching that stuff? Is it on the floor as well, or is it?
It's on the floor, but it's in patches. You can step over it and around it.
Okay, I'm going to try to do that.
Worthington, shine your torch down in one of these holes and let's see how deep they are.
I was about to do just that. Thank you for the suggestion. I'll shine it into the hole.
Okay, there's one about a foot from one hex edge to the other. It just seems to just go straight down. Let me see. Give me a spot hidden roll, please.
All right, I believe my spot hidden is actually decent. Come on. Ooh, a 3. Yes, I made that by a lot, by 62.
That's awesome. Give me a sand roll, please.
I knew that was coming. And I failed that.
Okay. You jerk back because you thought for a moment you actually saw the darkness as a gelatinous form react to your light. Now it had to have been shadows, but it did startle you. So you take a point of sand from that. You are not expecting to see gelatinous dark sort of.
What did you see?
It may have been a trick of the shadows. I don't know. This place is dark and mysterious. And perhaps you should have a look.
Hand me the torch.
This
I do
tastes
so.
terrible. Please taste it for me. I pass. I'm not going to go look.
Danforth will go look.
Listen, do you smell something? Okay. Spot hidden rolls from everybody looking.
Okay. Oh man, my dice hate me. 100. I see nothing.
Actually, that's a 0, isn't it?
Huh?
Ooh! I rolled a 25. My spot hitting was 40.
Anyway, a 100 is you absolutely see down there, and what you see for the distance that the torch will shine. Remember, this is just an incandescent bulb made in the 1920s. Yeah, it just disappears down this shaft. You don't see anything at all. Those of you who made your spot hidden see nothing there. Nothing at all.
I look at Miles. Perhaps it was just a trick of the light. I hand him his torch back.
Perhaps. I probably shouldn't have stayed up so late last night anyway. How wide are these holes? I apologize if you told us already.
No, that's fine. Some of them are as little as 6 inches. Some of them are as many as 2 feet. Yet they all seem curiously to interlock perfectly with each other.
It's quite quiet in here, I assume, outside of the noises that we're making.
The faint piping from the wind blowing across the cave entrance. Yes, it is very quiet. You've been in caves before in your own home country. There's always the faint drip or, almost rumble of the earth, but here it is quiet. It is as quiet as a grave.
I've got a bad feeling about this cave. Perhaps we should proceed.
I've got a bad feeling. Let's go further.
Or run.
Asps, very dangerous. You go first.
I didn't look down the hole, so and I'm avoiding looking down the holes as we go by.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll find a path that's wide enough to where we don't have to worry about falling off into anything.
There's places where you're gonna have to kind of tread a line, not like a tightrope, but it's like, and none of the holes are big enough that you will like bodily fall into one, unless like you just jump up and swan dive into it, right?
Or something reaches up and grabs us and pulls us in.
Something reaches up and grabs you or pulls you in. What are you even talking about, man? Lord. I swear. I run a little simple adventure game set in the 1930s, and you guys are pulling guns and talking about things grabbing you. Good Lord.
Just holes that nicely fit tentacles.
Yeah. Tube worms.
Yeah, exactly. Lava tube worms, probably.
All right. So, yeah, everybody, I'm going to say I want to see you. You know what? We'll just make it simple luck rolls.
Failed. 77.
Made mine 51.
I did.
Okay.
Oh, no, I had a 50. Apologies. I failed by 1.
I made mine 38.
Okay. And Professor Smith?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm 30 under.
Those of you that failed, you did slip and fall, and you got some of this disgusting, greasy, sticky, whatever it is on your clothes. Yeah. The smell is amazing.
Is it like something where it's just like on my jacket and I can take it off and throw it on the ground?
It is freezing cold in here, but yes, you can do that.
I figured you'd say that.
We're just going to have to find some seltzer water or something when we get back.
Or some salt water when we get the hell out of here.
You'll get used to the smell eventually. You always do.
That's true. You should have seen some of the places I've been.
So you've run the gauntlet of the holes on the floor, and now the cave takes a turn upwards.
Yeah, are there holes in the upward slope?
No,
Oh,
no.
oh,
They're in a band about 30 feet long that stop once you get on the slope that goes upwards.
Are there any holes on the sides that seem to be connecting?
No.
Does the floor seem any less tractable? I mean, is it slippery or anything and made of ice, or is it the same as what we walked in on?
No, it's the same as what you walked in on.
Okay.
Has the ceiling gotten higher, or it's about the same?
Oh, once you got in through the entrance, the ceiling was much higher, and it is staying the same as you navigate through.
All right, we'll press on.
Do
Indeed.
we have some ropes? I do not have any ropes, unfortunately.
I got a gun and a light, and I'm using them both.
Okay, yeah, we're not going to tie ourselves together. We're just going to try to go up the slope.
All right. So you work your way up the slope, and eventually it comes out into just a nightmare fairyland. There are columns of purple minerals sparkling under you, passing the torch around. What is perhaps most eye-catching are these cyclopean cubes and hexagons that stretch floor to ceiling in place, and in the middle of the room, a single hexagonal extrusion of this black rock is broken off at about chest height. It is about 6 feet across. Everybody give me a sand roll.
Oh boy.
I made mine.
Okay.
Awesome. I got 90. So, yeah,
Ooh,
I'm on the fail wagon.
I rolled a 93, baby.
We got
Okay.
24.
Everyone who failed your sand roll, you take a point of sand loss. This is unnerving. I mean, you're not just underground. You've been in mines before. You've been in caves before. This is underground in a place that, as far as you're aware, no one has ever seen. There's no chalk marks on the wall. There's no chisel marks. There's nothing. And this is completely alien. This is screwing with your sense of perceptions.
What the devil is this?
And it looks, again, anyone who wants to give me a geology roll?
All right, why not? The green dice are on fire. And no.
Failed by 19.
Pretty colors.
Okay, so yeah, it's silent, and this is by all appearances some kind of weird natural volcanic chamber, which, based on earlier reports about the island, would seem to fit up, and it appears that you're at a dead end.
So you said that the pillar in the center is broken off. It's jagged?
No, it's flat, but as you look around, the stones themselves, they seem to be worked like cubes and hexagonal cylinders and whatnot, like tiles. But then there's some that look just completely natural. Your geology has failed you, so you're not sure if this is a natural extrusion of basalt, but it would have to be. Logically, you think to yourself, it has to be. This has to be natural, or some ancient natives carved this, right?
Danforth.
Danforth. Why don't you scale
Danforth. Danforth turns to old Miles there and says, "Did you bring your camera?"
No. Normally I have a cameraman for such things. While I do know how to use them, they're rather large and bulky. I expected a warmer reception, but perhaps you can scale that pillar and get a better vantage.
I will do just that. That sounds like a great idea.
Okay, so yeah, climbing up on it, you're standing on the top. You're maybe 4 feet higher off the floor than everyone else, and you are looking down at your friends standing around your feet.
Trevor's going to look for any markings or anything on these weird shapes.
Spot hidden roll. Go ahead, spot hidden roll, please.
Spot hidden. Oh, I got a 25 on that one, and my spot hidden is 40, I believe.
Sweet.
Yes, 40%.
Okay, so examining the top of this completely natural basalt column. Well, you don't know if it's basalt or not. You're all failing your geology rolls. Some big time explorer you are. You do see what you think there are curious sort of spiral patterns worn into the basalt surface, and as you're kind of watching them and following them, sort of going around and around, give me an idea roll.
Fail, 76.
Yeah, it's just these whorls and so on and etc. Could have been worn there a 500 million years ago by seawater. You no idea.
With Danforth standing up on this black thing, he's going to look at the ground to see if there's like a pattern to the shapes on the floor.
Okay. Give me a spot hidden check. Let's see if you see anything there.
Oh, yes, made it.
Okay. So even though you have failed repeatedly your geology checks, and you're dropping tin cans in the cave, you do notice that yes, these are extrusions. You've heard of cases in the American Southwest of basalt columns that are left after ancient volcanoes begin to decay, and you realize looking at the floor you're not seeing any specific pattern, but you're like, wait, I recognize that. So these look to your mind to be like those columns that you saw out in the American Southwest near old volcanoes. So this looks to you, fortunately, to seem to be completely natural.
I turn to the group and say, I've only seen stones like this one other time in the Southwest. This is just an awe-inspiring natural cave.
Certainly, you must be joking with these markings on this pedestal that you're standing on. Look at your feet, man. Point them out.
Danforth will look down, see what this crazy person's talking about.
Okay, well, he's pointing it out. You don't really have to spot hidden as you're tracing your finger on there. Give me a Doomsword. Give me a luck roll, please, for Miles Worthington.
Oh crap! Hang on 1 second here. All right, 23. I made it.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, looking at the whorls and the spirals and the patterns, give me a spot hidden roll. I mean, you see the spirals and the patterns, but go ahead and roll it.
That would be 43. And spot hidden is 65.
Okay, yeah. So you think there's something to it, something to the patterns there, but it's hard. It's hard to tell. It doesn't appear to be some kind of written language or anything like that. What is Professor Smith doing in the chamber?
Well, I'm watching them do their stuff, but I'm trying to figure out if there's any other openings, or I mean, you said this is a dead end, but I want to walk the perimeter and look closely to see if it truly is a dead end.
Okay, that is going to take you out of the halo of light of
Yeah, no,
the
I'm not gonna
Worthington's flashlight. So you're hugging close. You're like, I'm going to go look for secret doors. I'm going to stand next to this pedestal.
Yeah. Once I realize it's not bright enough, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah,
So
Smith,
I guess I'll just help them point out whatever they're looking at.
Yeah, Smith, would you mind having a look at this? This is outside my area of expertise, but I do feel that something strange is here. Call it journalistic intuition.
Absolutely. So I go look and see what he's pointing at.
Okay, running your fingertips over it, you can definitely feel ridges and striations there that seem to form spiral patterns. Some of them are tight and isolated. Some smoothly swirl into others. You don't see any pattern to it. It doesn't seem like a language or drawings or anything like that. It could just be a naturally occurring event.
I mean, they're not spirals. They're not. It's not any kind of.
Well, yes, there are spirals, lots and lots and lots of spirals.
So, are they like what the hell do they call those? I saw them in New Mexico once. Rock carvings, or what the hell do they call those things? I'm going to see if I can recognize the patterns to see if they're similar to what I've seen Paleolithic stuff, right?
Like petroglyphs, whatever.
Petroglyphs, yeah, things like that.
So give me I get what you're driving at. Give me an idea roll.
Okay. I got a 93, so that's going to definitely be outside. My idea is 65.
Yeah, your thinking is that these patterns have to be natural. There's nothing petroglyphy about them.
Okay.
Danforth will look at these patterns at his feet that everybody seems to be engrossed with.
Give me an idea roll.
All right, let's see. Idea 55. Okay. Wow, 94.
Why is everyone obsessing over what are clearly some kind of naturally occurring creations in the rock?
I told you guys this is an all-natural cave. We're probably the first humans ever to be in here.
I'm going to take a page out of my journal and do an etching kind of with a
A
pencil.
rubbing?
Yeah, rubbing type deal.
Nice job.
Just
Okay.
Get some of the pattern in there so I can take it back if we need to and investigate it later.
Alrighty.
And then I'm going to go ahead and check out the rest of these pillars surrounding the area to see if there's any other markings that I might have overlooked or that anyone else might have overlooked.
Yeah, and we can stick together, I assume. I'll carry the light and just tell me where to go.
Okay. Can I have a luck roll then, please, from Worthington?
Falling dice. Come on. That's going to be 71, which is a fail.
Okay. Flicker.
Oh, no.
I tap it in the palm of my hand.
It's back on. It's maybe a little more yellow than white, not quite as bright as it was a few minutes ago.
Let's maybe take a look at the ceiling above the pillars just to see if there's something special up there.
I'll shine the light up there.
Everyone give me a sand roll, please.
And it begins.
I succeeded.
So did I.
Now I have a really quick weird question.
So did I.
We're continuing to roll under our new sand number after we've lost.
That is
right?
correct. That is correct.
Well, I rolled an 85, big boy.
Okay. As the beam of light, the to your eyes, somewhat dimmer beam of light plays back and forth across the ceiling, you see several unsettling and unwelcoming shifts in the shadows above you. You're not exactly sure what it is, but it's startling and unnerving. So you will take a loss of a point of sand. He's panning that light around. You're seeing shadows shift in the columns and formations and whatnot, and it's not sitting well with you.
Taylor.
Well, gentlemen, I think we've seen all we need to see here. Shall we leave?
Yeah, pull yourself together, man.
What are you talking about? There's nothing wrong here. I'm trying to investigate these pillars.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing I see that's wrong is there's no exit.
Wait a minute. There's no exit at all? I look at the place where we came in.
It's still there.
Okay, shit. I'm a little
Sorry.
paranoid these days.
And getting worse by the minute.
Yeah, it's not helping. Yeah, absolutely not.
Perhaps we should check the walls.
Let's walk the perimeter just to see.
Okay. Well, this chamber is only about 25 feet across. At its narrowest point, perhaps 40 or 50 feet at its widest. So it doesn't take you that long. Plus the massive columns and tumble down basalt stones all kind of make for us, once you leave the central area, for a fairly cramped and difficult affair, shuffling around. Looking behind every column, looking up at every rock is going to take a good while, though. So I'm going to need a luck roll from our flashlight holder again.
Here we go.
Come on, Doom. No whammies, baby.
Oh, 95.
I just said no whammies. No whammies.
You shouldn't have said anything.
Flicker, obvious to you all, a dim.
Yeah, well, perhaps we should return to the ship and or to the camp and get some fresh batteries and maybe get some rest and ask around about this rubbing here to see if anyone else sees anything.
You don't have to ask me twice.
Yeah, I'm following.
Yeah.
Of course, these are the dreaded B style batteries.
They're quadruple A's. Left-hand terminals only. Okay, so you're departing the cavern.
Yes.
All right. You come back down into the stinking cavern, and I should point out the smell was a lot less prominent up here. The vomit-like odor is much less notable in this chamber. So you make your way into the lower chamber, and you're immediately aware of it again. So you now have the gauntlet of holes in the floor and walls to run. Everyone, give me a luck roll, please.
Well, it's nice knowing you guys.
61. That's I've got 75 luck. So
25 success.
All right.
I'm at
I
42.
failed I feel bigger than I'll get out.
So you're using the tunnel as a slip and slide? Is that what you're saying?
So what did you roll?
I rolled a 54 and my luck is 45.
Okay, so yeah, you just fall again. Your arm goes straight into a hole. So levering yourself up means putting your hand directly into some of this mass, and it's on your. It's up high enough that it has started to seep under your parka collar.
Oof.
Outstanding.
I'll help him up. I'll grab him by the collar, back of his jacket, and pull him up.
Okay.
Does he come back with his arm?
Anything attached to his arm besides the vomit?
It's a hand holding his. No, nothing like that.
Okay. Maybe double time it? We need to get the hell out of here. Once we get past the gross stuff, we're gonna double time it.
Yeah, head to the exit.
Oh, it's not far from the gross honeycomb back to the where you got to duck down. And since you're all going fast, though, I'm going to let's see. There's 4 of you, so we'll see. All 4 of you take a point of damage as you smack your heads and wind up with gashes and bruises and everything else because you're hurrying. So you're cut with sharp stones and you come out and you got tears in your parkas and so on and etc. And you're out in it was dim. It is dim and overcast where you're at. This seems like blinding daylight. Like you guys have to throw your arms up and kind of blink.
Is there snow or anything nearby?
Yes, that's all that's nearby.
Well, I maybe you guys should, those of you that have decided to immerse yourself, maybe should use that to kind of see if you can get that stuff off of you.
Danforth is Scrooge McDucking in the snow.
Okay. All right, so you're basically you're giving yourself, those of you that got the strange vomitous substance on you, you're giving yourself snow baths, and as you're standing there, you can't hear anyone. You can't hear anything, but you can see some distance down what looks like figures coming up the slope in more or less the same direction that you came up here, and someone is obviously like waving, gesticulating at you. He's got some kind of flag or pennant in his hand, but you can't hear him over the howling winds.
I guess we were missed.
Yeah, I'm going to kill the flashlight anyway for now.
All right.
Danforth is going to continue the snow bath.
Okay. Some time passes if you're not going back down, and there's a group of 4 of the Norwegian crew, and Mr. Cheng is amongst them, and he says, "Well, good afternoon, my friends. You came quite a distance up the side of the hill to make snow angels. You were missed at the campsite. It has been many hours since we have seen you," and that kind of tracks with your, how long you guys were in there.
All right.
Have you explored around the cone of the dead volcano or found anything interesting up here?
We found some really horrible smelling orange stuff that I'm trying to get off of me. Have you ever seen anything like this, Mr. Chang?
He kind of looks at it and covers up his nose, and he says, It smells like the detritus from the processing of fish. Did you open a bad can of rations or something?
You should go check out that cave.
He kind of looks beyond you and says, that is more of a climb than I am willing to make. Besides, we are preparing shelters down below. We have moved your scientific instruments, and there has been a call for our friend the reporter to come down and record a few statements, if you would. Night should be coming soon.
Come on, gents, let's move.
Yes.
Fling my rifle over my shoulder.
Can we see the cave from the camp? I mean, we noticed it from there, but where they're putting the camp, are we going to be able to see it, the entrance?
No. I mean, you saw the cave when you climbed up,
Right.
but once you get down there, like, if you didn't know where to look, it would be completely hidden. You would have no idea it was up there.
Okay.
So you come down, and in the 3 hours, the huts, which they're like 8 by 8, and there's a lot of prefabricated parts. You know, there's frame walls that they brought over, laying carefully across one of the motor launches, and so on. They've even a few of the rolls of metal that they found. They're kind of using those since they're there and tacking them up. Prominent Norwegian flag has been planted, and upon seeing you, the head of the Norwegian mission gestures you over Miles and says, Mr. Worthington, how wonderful to see you. Yes, if you would be so kind as to take a photograph of myself and members of the mission, please, here. There are some more, perhaps, agreeable folks from the British mission who wish to commemorate with a photograph also.
The pleasure would be all mine.
And there's, the photo, they're handing a document over and shaking hands and that sort of thing. So it's kind of a repeat of earlier in the day with a lot less animosity.
Right.
As work goes on. And once that's done, he says, so, Mr. Worthington, will you be remaining here ashore with your scientist and explorer friends while for the duration of the scientific portion of this mission?
Well, we sort of fancy ourselves explorers after a fashion.
But of course, you are on the far side of the volcanic cone there, I suppose.
Indeed. Did you have any plans to further survey the island or such?
Most of our concern is the creation of the weather station here and a shelter for any fishermen or hunters of seals and whales that might find themselves waylaid because of weather. The establishment of a long-term supply drop-off point and a little bit of shelter, a little bit of the homeland.
Sure, I understand. And I'm sure you must understand as well that it's not very often that me and my companions get to a place like this and there is possibly items of interest herein. So I'm certainly happy to help as much as I can, but I must obviously consult with my companions.
Oh, but of course, His Majesty's government wishes, of course, to extend to you the full courtesy of Norwegian territory to you, and please just keep me informed of any interesting finds. Of course, I must ask for your total confidence should you find any mineralogical finds, anything that involves precious or semi-precious metals. But all that was in the paperwork that you signed before you embarked on this journey.
And of course, I examined the paperwork very carefully to make sure that both sides of the agreement were happy with the potential result. We have the same back at the paper. You'll be the first to know.
Of course, of course. Well, not every side was happy. I find some of the British a bit more amiable than, well, better left unsaid. I think we've had enough anger for the day. Yes. Well, it should be getting dark soon. I would expect we will leave. We will take the motor launches back to the ship and celebrate the first night, and then we can really rough it here. I remember fishing on Lake Incredibly Long Name. As a boy, we would put up hudments and fish through the ice. It was quite an adventure. It will be something like that, I would think. Yeah. So anyone who wants to assist may. Your help is appreciated. Otherwise, you're all just kind of sitting around watching perhaps a dozen guys put up these 3 shacks and so on and etc.
I'm documenting it.
Okay.
All
right.
Danforth is going back to the boat to have a hot shower to try to get that smell off of him.
Okay. Well, they really only do this for like an hour. And it really does start to get notably dark. So at that point, the leader of the Swedish mission blows a whistle and waves everyone over and speaks. Those of you who, I'm sorry, not Swedish, Norwegian. Those of you who speak Norwegian, which I believe Miles does.
He does.
He basically, nothing secret here, nothing. He thanks them all for putting in a hard day's work and with their efforts and what they are able to find of local supplies. By a little after breakfast tomorrow, all the hutments should be up, and it is fairly impressive. So you'll have to come back in the morrow. Mr. Jing there is he's been instrumental in doing a lot of this. So with that, you retire to the ship. And on the ship that night, there is a celebration, and those of you that need to get your clothes cleaned can turn them over. The stewards on the ship, I mean, they fish for biological purposes. They've smelled way worse than this. It's not a big deal to them. Washing this stuff off, it is like annoyingly clean. Like if you've ever gotten really heavy grease on your skin and had to leave it there, like washing it off under water, it kind of rolls up before it actually starts scrubbing off. Gets under your fingernails.
It's like a stink bomb of napalm. Or napalm stick bomb. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like you know, when you scrub it off, you're like, oh, good, it's on my nails, and you got to get a pen knife and scrape under your nails. But eventually, you do get clean, and you're all invited down for dinner. Notably, not present at the celebratory dinner there on the ship is Ambassador Blombert. He is nowhere to be found. One of the Britishers does apologize for his presence. Yes, I believe he took a bit of indigestion. You see, he had something to eat as soon as he came back from the ship, and already being of a intemperate mood, I think it perhaps didn't agree with him. He's had to lie down, as you see. You must understand, he's quite a solid fellow. No real worries or complaints. I just think he feels that ever since the end of the Great War, sees a slow diminishing of our historied empire, and even little flecks such as this it takes away a bit of his national pride, you see. I am not making excuses for his behavior, but, well, I apologize. And with that, he returns to his own table. What are you all doing there? It's almost the entire crew is here, except for those on watch or engineering duties. The food is pretty good. Those of you that got the stuff on you, Danforth, you're not sure, but you think you actually can kind of taste it. Like when you bring a bite to your mouth, you're like, Hub. That's just like once every couple of minutes, it's just
outstanding.
A few belts of akavit do kind of take the bad taste out of your mouth, though.
I'd just like to converse with my companions and talk about what we saw, that sort of thing, make some small talk, and in general, to get to the point, talk about what our plans are and what kind of equipment we might need that they might have on the ship that we can bring with us.
Yeah, I think we definitely need to ask about some kerosene lanterns, perhaps.
And some rope.
Yes, definitely rope.
Yeah, spikes, that sort of thing.
A snow shovel.
Maybe some gasoline to pour into the stinky area to try to burn that smell out.
Well, who's the best diplomat?
Let's see.
There's no diplomacy on the sheet, so
I've got bargain at 20%.
fast talk or bargain.
Yeah, it would be
Yeah,
fast.
Bargain.
I've got fast talk bargain 55%.
Yeah, I'm at 5%, so I'm not good at any of those things.
I'm good at fast talking, of course, but that's about it. And speaking Norwegian.
Law would also work here, guys. If anyone has law.
No.
I have law of 35.
I have oratory at 30%. I can talk them to death.
That works too. Persuasion, if you have persuasion.
I have persuade of 30%.
Yeah, well, how about somebody comes with me? We'll talk
I'll
through
join
together.
you. Lead on, good man.
Indeed, Harlan. Yeah, we'll go. So, is there anybody here who's so Chang? He's not around, or he is around?
As he is a steward, he is bringing food, clearing tables, that sort of thing.
Now, Chang's the guy that I prayed with, right?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, does there seem to be anybody of importance in the dining area that I can, perhaps wait until they're finished eating and move on up to them and ask them a few questions, or if not, failing that, I suppose we can just wander the boat.
Well, the diplomat is the Norwegian diplomats and their English counterparts, again, not counting Mr. Blumberg, are all sitting at the captain's table, which is at the far end of the galley there.
Right. That's a ways off from our table. I mean,
it's like 20 feet.
Yeah. I think it's probably best or most prudent that I sit here and wait until I can make some sort of eye contact with them, and then I'll lift a hand and a gesture, letting them know that, hopefully letting them know that I would like to speak with them, whenever they're available.
Okay. Initially, some people mistake it for a toast. So you can hear spoons clanging and people raise their glasses and look at you expectantly.
Sure. I'm one to drink.
Yeah, and for you Americans, this is the first proper liquor, because even speakeasies, you know, that stuff's like watered down.
Mm.
You're not, you know, that
Sure.
bottle of Jack Daniels that's been around for 3 or 4 years. Yeah, no, that's slowly been alcohol and water. But anyway, so you, yeah, you're enjoying your drinks there, and you know they accept your toast and so on. You can approach you can approach the captain's table, though it's not roped off or anything.
Yeah. Now I've got an excuse, thanks to this fine drink.
Okay.
Hartman, let's go talk to them.
Let's go.
All right, we'll walk over.
All right.
And I'll approach slowly.
Yeah.
Good evening, gentlemen. I hope I'm not interrupted.
Yeah, one of them is finishing up some mildly obscene shaggy dog story in Norwegian that you recognize. It's an old one, you know. And so the fisherman says, well, how do you think the mermaid or why do you think the mermaid is fish on bottom? And gales of laughter. So, yes, my friend, my reporter friend, please, I hope you don't feel as though you were deliberately excluded. This is not precisely a Cunard liner, if you will. The tables are of limited size.
Completely understood, my good man.
You may all rest assured you are honored passengers here on the ship, and the captain.
And I thank you for that. We were admiring the outfitting. We were admiring the quality of the food. We were admiring the crew. Every man seems to know his place and does it well.
Well,
like an honored guest.
If there is anything that any of my crew members can do for you, please let me know.
Well, perhaps there is. I must say that's what we're approaching about. As you understand from our previous conversation, we intend to do a bit of exploration on the island as time and weather and your needs of us permit. And we find that it would be most beneficial to be outfitted for such endeavors.
But of course, I believe that you have a ample degree of supplies, and there will be scientific instruments that will be placed on the island. You are staying for the remainder of the 3 days that we are scheduled to, yeah?
Yeah, but, well, this flashlight, perhaps I should have bought American or Norwegian or German, but I didn't.
He rubs it. He rubs his jaw, kind of turns it over, and says, "Yeah, the dry cells do poorly in cold weather. A gas lamp is really what you want for light and so forth. But where would you need such a contraption?"
Well, for example, the cave that we entered.
Oh, they're kind of looking at. They sort of look surprised. There is a cave you have found?
Yes. We have. I wouldn't call it necessarily much of a cave, but it was of some interest to our more scholarly types. For what reason, I couldn't possibly imagine.
The British are like, we had never heard any information about a cave, and the Norwegians are very sensitive about this, and this is news to us as well. So.
Well, it may have simply been a crevasse that opened up with some ice melting or something. It was somewhat interesting, and being that this island is so remote, we find that the opportunity to map it and document its location might be of value to future generations.
No, quite excellent. Well, this is a piece of good news, to be sure. So basically, they will ferry any of your equipment that you need. Gas lamps. Of course, we'll have those available for light in the huts on the shore of the island. There's a generator there, of course, that will generate electricity. There,
perhaps some rope and those sorts of things will be available as well.
of course, of course. As I said, it is your cargo, and you know what you have there.
And
No, you're
might
quite-
I also recommend some able-bodied seamen to go with us to act as help and aids.
Yeah. Well, I have already lent you my crew for porters. We will do our level best, as you say.
Thank you.
You're most kind. And of course, we will share with you anything that we find, should you desire such.
That is greatly appreciated, as it follows the strictures of of any treaties.
Precisely.
Okay, so let me see here. I am just looking for something here that I cannot find. I may have to grab my 4th edition. I know where everything's at in it.
Gasp.
Yeah.
You have to actually use the physical copy.
I have to actually use my physical copy of my 4th ed book. So evening passes, you're full of good drink and good food. Anything anyone wished to do before turning in, before 9 bells?
I wouldn't mind going and checking in on that British ambassador to just make sure he's okay.
Yeah, I'll go with you to do that, because that's, we're here to kind of help make peace between the two, so maybe we can at least cheer up the guy.
Yeah.
I'll continue to speak with anybody who wants to speak with me in Norwegian, since mine is not so good, and
There is
tipsy and warm.
There is enough English and Norwegian between you to have wonderful conversations. Are you taking any? Are you taking reporter notes?
As long as I don't feel like they would think that was rude.
Oh no! They're this is a moment for them. They
Okay.
are absolutely with it.
Yeah, I'd happily do that.
Yes. So
I'll make you boys famous.
all right. So
The professor is going to follow the reporter around, just in case something comes up that might be of interest or discussion. And I'm going to ask as we go if anybody's been here before. I realize that they probably haven't, but just in case.
okay. Alrighty. Those of you that are going to see Ambassador Blumbert, there is a British sailor on guard outside his chambers, or a member of the British mission, you would at least assume. Good evening, gentlemen. What can I do for you?
Oh, good evening, sir. We're just checking up on the ambassador. He did not report to dinner this evening, and we just wanted to see how he was coming along.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, he's taken a bit ill. I think the day's stresses may have given him a bit of intemperate stomach, so he asked that he not be disturbed.
Well, actually, it's funny you should say that. I've actually brought some medicine for just such things as this. If you would just allow us to pass, we can administer the medicine.
With all respect, sir, that's quite all right. We have a physician amongst our diplomatic mission, and I will just take it and give it to the physician to give to Ambassador.
Oh, okay. Look, I understand. You're just doing your job. But so are we, because we're technically part of the American attachment to this to make sure both sides play nice. And for your diplomat not to make it to dinner claiming sickness, we just want to make sure nothing nefarious is going on.
Do you have oratory or fast talk?
Yeah, 55%.
In which?
Well, see, this is the deal. And I have the 5th edition, and in that it said that bargain and fast talk were the same thing.
Okay. And that's what you have?
Yeah.
Okay. Then give me a fast talk roll. This is where, folks, we do kind of run into the occasional, where the paint sort of rubs together. And you get unexpected results. But by and large, BRP stays the same for Call of Cthulhu all the way through.
21, baby.
All right. So we're actually going to do just a quick opposed check, but that is pretty darn good. What is your appearance? Let me ask you that. Basically, your character's charisma.
My appearance. Alrighty, hang on. Ooh, I am a heroic 12.
A 12. Okay. Okay, so he kind of says, right, well, let's make it quick then. Don't disturb the old fellow. Got a 7.5 week voyage back with him, and he looked right ready to piss nails, he did.
Right, I completely understand. Don't worry, we will not ruffle feathers.
Right, yeah. He knocks on the door. Ambassador, there's a fellow from the American mission would like to speak with you. He says he has some bromide for your stomach, sir. You hear footsteps on the deck, back and forth, so on, and he says, "Yes, well, send him in." Oh, it's a great Foley. Thank you, whoever did that. So the door opens, and there's Blumbert. He's got his collar. His collar is undone, and no jacket on. His sleeves are rolled up. His fingers are smudged. He's clearly been writing something on the desk. That's rolled down. The top is now rolled down. Yes, you American chaps. Well, I suppose my performance on this fine day for the British Empire was not exactly Emily Post. I suppose you will be reporting back to your country of such claims.
Actually, that's kind of why we came to talk to you. We are not going to portray the British in a poor light. You were surprised by something unexpected, and so of course you are to assume the other party is trying to gain some type of upper hand. All completely natural.
Okay, once again, so you're a 12. Let's see, roll, give me a percentile dice roll.
All right, here we go, baby. Green dice. I'm riding with the green dice tonight, guys, unless they
Riding for the green dice.
All right.
Woo, 18, baby, on fire.
Okay. He rubs his chin and says, "Yes, well, quite decent of you. Quite decent of you. Please have a seat." There's the chair that he turns to sit in, and then there's a couple of other. Obviously, his cabin is huge, by which it's like 11 by 6. so there's actually room for 3 chairs in this room.
I go ahead and pull up one of the chairs, and I tell him I understand the waves and the emotion of the day got to you a little bit. I brought you some American medicine, and I hand him the flask I have of the bathtub gin.
Yes. Well, I'll save this for a special occasion when I can entertain one of your countrymen. For the time, let me allow me, please, to return the favor. And he goes over and opens a cabinet, and he's futzing around and comes back, and there's 3 glasses of dark amber liquid, and he says, "The British Empire."
Raise my glass.
Hear, hear. And then I drink with him.
God save the king. Yes.
While we're discussing things, I'm just scanning the room to see if there's anything out of place that.
Give me a spot hidden check.
Dang it, 64. I got 40.
No, nothing.
Okay.
I talked to the British ambassador, and I bring up the fact that we found this cave, and I'm just wondering, have there's been any mention of this cave in any other reports from the British when y'all surveyed the island?
He leans forward in his chair and says, "No, nothing at all. That's
well, maybe they thought it just insignificant to include in their survey report."
Yes, I rather suppose so. Will you and your friends be returning to the island tomorrow?
Indeed. We've did encounter some interesting designs in the cavern that we explored previously this day. I pull my sketchbook out.
Did you bring the rubbings?
Yes. Pull the sketchbook out and I hand him the page.
Okay, he peers at them. Don't worry, other players. I'm not leaving you guys out to dry. Let's see. Give me, let's see. You don't really have it. Hartman.
What is it you're looking for?
Give me a psychology roll.
Hey, I've got that 40%.
Yeah.
Missed it by 5.
Okay, yeah. He's well, you have a 5%. Remember, if you look at your skills on your character sheets, there's stuff that you always have a faint shot at. But in this case,
not this time. I don't, there, big boy. Rolled a 30.
Yeah. So he's he seems mildly interested in it. Yes, well, our Norwegian's friends' luck seems to know no bounds.
Do you see something in the patterns here?
No. It's just some natural rock formations scrubbed there by millions of years of the grinding of stones. It's a volcano, don't you know? It's probably just broken an interesting pattern. You likely did make as much meaning out of the crystals of a snowflake or the patterns you'd see in a field of wheat as the wind blows, my good man.
Fold the page back up and put it back in my journal.
Okay. He just kind of makes small talk. He's getting obviously more and more inebriated as the evening goes on, but not horribly so.
I have one final question for him before we wrap this up, if that's okay.
All right.
Since the British Empire also has a colony in South Africa, I was wondering, were there any stories about this island that your men in South Africa may have heard, rumors or anything from the locals there?
No, quite not. Nothing from the surveys and etc. This island is of very little importance to anyone. You must understand. And he says, "Well, gentlemen, I hate to be rude, but I must get some rest. Tomorrow I have to resume my duties for His Majesty's government."
Of course. We bid you good night and please get well.
Yes, and I hope that medicine treats you right.
Yes. All right. Meanwhile, back at the dining room, Professor Smith and Miles Worthington continue to work the crowd. What specifically are you seeking to extract from anyone here? Any information?
Well, from my perspective, I think my intent is probably to make small talk, and if anything comes up that sounds like a lead I should follow to gain further information, I'll happily do so. And I figure the professor is probably in tow to, I'll distract people for him if that needs to be the case.
All right. What about you, Professor James Smith? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask and see if others have, been near the island or in this region in their previous endeavors.
Give me a luck roll.
All right. Recovering from the stupid crash here.
It's always the IT guys whose computers work the worst.
Well, I just reloaded this just before this. So, okay. I got an 83, so that's actually 7 above my score.
Yeah, no, but nobody's been here before. This is all new for them, which is kind of exciting. This is like going to the moon for a lot of these guys. But no one that you talk to has ever been here before.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll talk them up, and explain to them that I'm documenting their names for, the inevitable newspaper article that I will write, and and then I'll make them all look good and all look like the heroes that they surely are.
All right. Well, that definitely brings some smiles, and there's, should we get a picture of this? Should you bring your camera? And that's like clunk. It's not the old, you gotta get the flash powder and stuff. It's not
right.
the 1800s, but still, it's like, okay, let me get a bulb in here, chunk.
Yeah, big and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So it does take some doing, but you do take a good 8 or 10 photographs, which is a huge amount of photos to shoot. And yeah, generally it's just kind of quiet, and occasionally there's more toasts and so on. But around 12 bells, things do begin to break up, and the captain says, "Well, I have a crew that I must order about tomorrow. You layabouts, you won't sleep past the 7th bell in the morning. I recommend you all get to your bunks. and then something harsher in Norwegian, captainly ordering. So things start to wind down.
All right.
Anything else you guys wish to do?
What's the weather like out on the deck right now? Is it like
Windy and cold,
windy?
but it's not like hurricane gales or anything like that,
Okay. I guess as I'm going back to my cabin, which side is my cabin on? Is it on the side of the boat facing the shoreline, or is it facing out to sea?
It is on the port side, so it is facing the island.
Okay, I'm just going to kind of lean against the railing and stare at the island to see if there's anything I can notice from where I'm at.
It is pitch black, so no.
Okay. Head on in and turn in for the night.
Okay. And how about Danforth?
Danforth is sleeping peacefully in his bunk, hopefully.
Okay. Miles?
Yeah, same.
And Professor Smith.
I'm gonna take one more walk outside the deck to look towards the site, and then I'll pass it.
Okay.
Just want to see if there's lights or any kind of weird constellations or whatever.
Okay. Danforth.
Yes, sir.
At some point during the night, your cabin mate, who I believe is author Trevor Hartman, is that correct?
I believe so.
No, my
no.
my bunkmate is the professor.
Oh, even better. The professor is moving around the cabin, and it's not a huge cabin, so it's the shuffling, the moving back and forth, and at some point he stops, and you kind of you get that sense of someone standing near you. For some reason, the professor is like standing next to your bunk.
Problem sleeping, Professor?
The professor, the form standing over you is bloated, almost dead white, naked at least from the waist up, male, if you have a moment to take this in, and completely headless.
Oof.
I don't mean headless in the sense of has been decapitated. I mean, there's just nothing there. It leans forward and raises up its hands, sort of leaning in at you. And the palm of each splits open to expose a toothy maw.
Oh, no.
I'm dodging, baby, as much as I can.
Give me a sand roll, please.
Ooh, 73. It might be time to retire the green dice.
All right, so that is going to cost you 3 sand.
Ooh.
How many sand have you lost totally so far there, Danforth?
2 plus this 3 would be 5.
5, and that is... Uh-oh. Let's see. That's not. I don't. Is that quite 20% of your current sand? I don't think so.
I had 44 to start with, and I now have 39.
Okay. Yeah. So let's see. Let's just have a quick gander because that was that's horrifying.
Really wishing I hadn't give the bathtub gym away right now.
Well, the bathtub gym might be the least of your issues. You sit bolt upright in bed and scream.
Yes, I do.
Professor Smith, flailing his arms wildly in the bunk next to yours, is poor, almost a Trevor Hartman, is poor Danforth Taylor, who is like fighting and thrashing against his pillow. Like his pillow is tied up in his sheets, and he's like his arms are caught, and he's like thrashing hard against it. So, what do? Your bunkmate is screaming and yelling. Those of you on the ship in this same area kind of hear the, no, ah! From the cabin. What do you do?
I think Danforth would be much more girl screaming than manly like that.
Trevor's going to jump up and grab the closest thing he can find, like something heavy, and dash over to the other door and start beating on it. What's going on in there?
Professor, you're awake. You just see him. He's like thrashing, just like half awake, thrashing around.
Well, I'll roll over there, and if I have water or if I have to slap him in the face, not too hard.
Yeah, you've got a pitcher there and a cup drinking glass.
I'll take a little bit of it in my palm and I'll put it on his forehead. Hopefully, so he doesn't completely freak out.
Okay, yeah, your eyes snap open there, Danforth, and you're looking at your very concerned friend, Professor James Smith, standing there. He's patting water on your face, and
I just instinctively shove him away.
All right. So yeah, you kind of stumble back against the bulkhead. The rest of you hear this. I'm sorry. What about Miles Worthington? What is he doing?
Yeah, I figured he'd just follow Trevor. I mean, assuming those guys were bunked up, I assume that I was bunked up with Trevor, with Hartman.
Okay. The watch does not happen to be coming down this way at this time, so they don't. No one else near you hears this. So yeah, you're wide awake now, Danforth, and feeling pretty horrified.
Yeah. I just
I'm beating on the door. What's going on in there?
Do I okay, I'm trying to figure out how to play this. Do I understand it was just a dream, or do I think that the professor is up to like nefarious things?
Given that there is not a bloated corpse-like being with mouths in the palms of its hands and no apparent head nor ever a presence of one, given that that's not standing in front of you and the professor is trying to calm you down, give me an idea roll. Or okay. I'm sorry. You know what? Yeah, give me an idea roll.
Okay. Going with the white dice. God, nope. 78. Might have to retire these big boys early.
You don't know. You're just TJ says Danforth looks in the mirror and there's a bite mark on his forehead where the professor was patting him. No, there's no bite mark on your forehead, but yeah, you have no idea. I would like you to give me a Cthulhu Mythos roll, please.
Alrighty. Now, in my thing, my Cthulhu Mythos was 99, but that can't be right, though, right?
That is correct. It's the way the Bikahi program does that. I know what your Mythos score is. What'd you roll?
Okay, 47.
Yeah, this was just some. You're still unsure about your surroundings, but this was just some horrific nightmare.
I get up and quickly apologize and say I've got to get some fresh air, and I turn and walk out.
I back out of the way, give him space.
Yeah. Well, Trevor, Miles, here comes here comes Danforth Taylor in his sleeping gown and slippers and robe. One would presume some kind of shoes.
Some shoes, yes, but robe, no.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it is bitterly cold. Like, you immediately regret that, even through the sand loss.
Taylor, what is the matter with you?
It was horrible. It was the most horrible thing I've ever seen, and I have drank teas from native shaman that made me see strange things. Nothing compared to this. And I just turn around and just keep walking because I've got to get out. I've got to get fresh air.
I'll look in the room to see what's going on in there.
Half of his sheets are from his bunk are pushed off on the floor. Other than that, nothing.
I'll wave at him. See, just me.
I'll just shake my head and I'll see if his jacket's hanging up in there that I can take to him.
Oh yeah, it's a small cabin. You can see the peg on which coats and stuff hang.
Okay, I'll grab his and go after him and try to cover him up a little bit to keep him warm.
Okay.
So Smith, he just awakened in lunacy?
He was having a nightmare and was thrashing. So I got some water and I dabbed it on his forehead, and he was terrified when he awoke.
Very interesting.
I backed off. I haven't got any details as to what his problem was. I don't know what he was dreaming.
Perhaps there's a history of illness there. I thought we vetted our companions better than this.
No, we've got quite a weird and sometimes terrifying little campaign going here.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
And he did get some of that quite disgusting stuff. Did you have any weird?
I did not, and that was my first thought because I had some of the stuff upon me as well. But I suppose it remains to be seen if I shall be affected. However, he did touch it and pull it to his nose.
Yeah, he did. He absolutely did. Is his bed soaked or sweat, or
No?
It's just ruffles?
Urine, maybe.
No.
He had to leave the room because he had a turtle head poking out.
Didn't need to know that. Didn't need to know that.
But yeah, well, I mean, his bed's in order. I don't really know what his deal is. He doesn't have a fever, or if he has, he's not sweating it.
Perhaps he'd be more comfortable staying with Hartman.
I'll try to catch up to him and wrap his coat around him.
It just even that I think just startles Danforth, and he's oh thank you. It is rather brisk out this evening.
Indeed, you'll catch your death out here without this. Come,
you can catch your death in there on the bunks too.
Come, let's return and find out what's going on. You must tell us everything.
Okay, but there's not really much to tell. Just a dream, maybe.
Certainly, it was a dream. There's nothing in there but the professor.
It was so real. It was the most vivid dream I have ever had. And like I said, I have partaken with strange teas made by shaman that made me see crazy things, and nothing compares to that.
Well, let's get you back to the cabin and get you warm, and perhaps we can scrounge up some brandy or something to calm your nerves.
Yes, that sounds like a great idea.
Lead him back to the cabin.
Okay, do you like describe fully everything that that you saw in your it's a horrible.
Every little
Of course.
detail, down to the number of teeth in each hand.
Everybody give me a sand roll.
Yeah, of course.
Man, I thought that was just Hartman.
Ooh.
If I'm going down, I'm taking all of y'all with me.
Mine's a success.
75.
I made a
Nice try, Danforth.
All right, everybody made theirs.
Yes.
Yeah, that's like a crazy, horrible dream, and you wonder maybe if he didn't buy 2 bottles of bathtub gin.
Perhaps it was something you ate. The ambassador had indigestion and issues as well. I don't know about his dreams, but perhaps it was something on the menu.
Norwegian fish never really did agree with me.
Okay. Wave and Mutilation asks if he's using ectoplasm. I don't think so. Okay. Well, the rest of the evening passes relatively uneventfully. You're very tired when the gray, dim dawn comes to you. So they are moving some scientific instruments to the island, and they ask that you be there on the island to perhaps calibrate them, make sure they're in good working order. Of course, they want our intrepid reporter there to document everything. And by the time you get to the island, there to Bouvet, the sheds, the shacks, the cabins, if you will, are pretty much complete. One of them will ably sleep 6 people, not comfortably. The way basically you walk into the door and you can climb up onto the top bunk, you can climb into the middle bunk, or you can climb onto the bottom bunk, or you can do it with the same bunks on the left. And there is a cabinet of toiletries in between them against the far wall, but that's it. That is literally it. The other bunk is, or the other shed is much spacier. It's got a floor area there, probably of 10 feet by 12 feet. And it is big enough to hold all of your various instruments and whatnot. And it is also the kitchen where food is stored, where you will eat, that sort of thing. And then the final one is for storing heavy equipment and so on. And there's a small tin shed that you would have to stoop down to go into that holds your gasoline generator. And there's a couple of drums of petrol next to that.
We got some nice, strong Norwegian coffee.
Oh yes, oh yes. The food there is quite excellent. For what it's worth. You guys have all of the equipment there you need to conduct your experiments and whatnot. The bulk of the crew is back on the ship. What do you wish to do?
Guess we need to gather up the supplies we want to take with us and return to the cave, perhaps.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perhaps something to gather some samples of that mess so we can do some experiments on it when we come back. A pail or something to put some stuff, jars, whatever, specimen jars.
Yeah, I mean, you've got all kinds of containers, beakers and jars, alembics, things like that. You can put samples in.
Okay.
So you're climbing back up the mountain, yes?
Yes.
Yep.
This time with
Yep.
Glenn.
Although all the way up, I'm telling everyone what a horrible idea this is.
All right, everybody, give me a luck roll.
Mine's a fail.
Oh my God.
Mine's a pass, big time.
Excellent.
I succeeded as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so Doomsword, you did fail.
Yes.
Okay. You hit a patch of clean ice that only has a light dusting of snow on it, and your crampons do not, or your boots, basically, your hobbed boots, do not bite well enough into it, and you go tumbling down. You take... Wow, you really get bashed up. You take 6 points of damage.
Oh my.
Yeah, I mean, your nose is cracked. You're absolutely certain that your nose is now broken. There's a good deal of crimson spilling out there. It's dotting the snow. The rest of you see him just go flying past you, tumbling down perhaps 30, 40 feet as you're assaulting the side there.
Make my way back down and try to help him to his feet and hand him a hanky to stench the flow of blood.
Okay. Yeah, you are
something.
You are in a not inconsiderable amount of pain from that tumble. You like take a few minutes. You're dazed. Your wind is knocked out of you.
I'm not sure if I can continue, Jen.
Danforth agrees with you and says, "Here, it was a bad idea to come here today. I told you this, and I'll take the reporter. I'll help him back to base camp."
All right. And what chunk of your hit points was that 6?
Oh yeah, a gigantic chunk. So 6 from 8. So
oh wow, yeah. So you're barely conscious.
Yeah. I figured.
We'll carry him back, shoulder over his or arms over our shoulders, whatever, and drag him back down.
Yeah, we'll weekend at Bernie's.
Did we heal the damage we'd gotten from the head banging coming out of the cave? Did we?
Yeah, that was just cuts and bruises, and that was mercurochrome and plasters and a little cat gut for a couple.
So if we heal that, I've got 4, so that's a little bit.
That's a little bit better. But yeah, again, you are dazed. They get you back to the shack, get some coffee in you. You get there's a folding cot, fortunately, that someone had incorrectly packed that's sort of sitting in the corner. You can unfold that and lay down on it.
Yeah, this is like concussion material or something.
Yeah. You hear there's a distant rumble of a motor launch, someone going and doing something. But that was fairly high up that happened. So it was pretty far ahead in the day. You do have some daylight left. But I'm just letting you guys know.
Yeah, perhaps let him recover for the evening.
Yeah,
Perhaps
I'm gonna have to rest through
like
the
that
night
again
for sure.
tomorrow. Get a good fire going in the potbelly stove and get him nice and warm.
Sure. You've got you got some of that wonderful miracle substance, Lipton tea, that you're able to just dump a bit of powder into a glass of hot water and stir it up, and you've got something that is almost entirely unlike good tea. You've got got some tinned beef, so on and etc. So yeah, you're able to have a cozy evening, and I'm going to, let's see.
We should have worked together.
Does anybody have medicine that the medicine skill where they could maybe treat his wounds a little bit?
I do not, unfortunately.
I don't.
Great. We're all gonna die.
You're in the best of hands, Doom. The best of hands.
I see that.
Top.
We should have roped together. I'm a journalist. Come on, guys. I don't do this every day.
Okay.
I write about other people doing it.
I'm going to say everybody give me a knowledge roll. Except for Worthington, obviously. Well, I mean, even Worthington. I mean, you're in the most pain, so you can throw it in too.
Held by 6.
I passed by quite a bit, by 23.
Yeah, I passed by 40-something, 30-something.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, you guys, your days of scouting back in 2005 begins to kick in. You got his hand and his leg splinted up. You're like, okay, let's get some cotton wadding in that nostril that's still bleeding. Let's get him sit up here. Have these aspirin, so on and etc. So I'm feeling a little generous. I'm feeling a little soft.
Must be generous.
So I'm going to give you 2 hit points back from their massive knowledge skill checks. Kind of brought.
So
brought
we
on.
did properly vet them. Excellent.
Yeah. All right.
See, Doom, I told you, you're in the best of hands.
Okay.
All right.
So I guess we'll camp out for the night, and maybe if he feels better the next day, we'll try it again.
Okay. At some point in the wee hours of the morning, you hear, all of you, it's loud enough that it awakens you, a muffled bang from a distance.
A bang like a gunshot, or like an explosion, or
Like an explosion.
which direction did it appear to come from? The ocean or the island?
Well, I mean, the island is under you and to your immediate left.
I meant more toward the cave in that direction. Toward the
not towards that direction.
Hopefully it didn't come from the ocean.
I'm just worried if the boat exploded is what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
Well, open the door and look out and toward the boat. See what's going on.
So you can see lights on the boat. It is, it's not moving away. There doesn't appear to be any fire or anything. You see what you think are probably a couple of electric torches bobbing along the railing, moving towards the stern. All of you give me a spot hidden roll, please. Or you know what? It may not even be a spot hidden check. Let's see. Yeah. We'll make it a spot hidden.
Yeah, got to fail. 49 out of 40.
Yep, I got 90.
Spot hidden of 40. I rolled 11.
Ooh.
And
Oh.
I rolled a 66. I missed by 1.
Okay. So those of you who made it, you can see a light bobbing up the mountainside in the distance Just one. It moves for a bit, sort of waving back and forth, and then stops, and then moves on again for a bit, and then stops. But it is quickly fading away as the snow is starting to blow and pick up.
Those must be Sherpas. Follow them. I'll hang out here.
Danforth just yells out, pointing, "There's someone going up the mountain."
I'll turn and look toward the mountain.
Same.
Yeah,
You see clearly. Well, I mean, since it's being pointed out to you, you just see, and it fades away in the snow, what is a torch, a lantern, an electric torch, something in the distance going up the mountain. And you look over and you see there's a motor launch that's been grounded on the shore. That was not there before. I mean, you had one to take you back to the ship. Now there's a second one. And in fact, this is the other motor launch that the ship had. If they are going to come ashore, they're going to have to row ashore.
I'm going to rush over and make sure it's secured so it doesn't drift off.
Give me a spot hidden roll.
Come on, roller. Dang it. 70.
What is your spot hidden?
40.
Okay. Alrighty. So yeah, you're it's pretty heavy. The motor launches. So I mean, if you're trying to secure it to the shore and driving snow and whatnot, you're gonna need some help.
Danforth, come help me.
Danforth, yeah, I'll go over there and help him.
Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so Danforth comes over and immediately, like, you look in, and I guess Danforth, you thought to bring a torch or something because there is obviously a smear of blood on the gunwale.
Whose blood is this?
I'll look over.
Yeah, it's a smear of red blood. Not the only
running up the mountainside.
Yeah, the only injured amongst you is Miles Worthington, and unless he is hobbled out of the cabin, presuming Smith didn't don't go out there. So yeah.
We'll try to lash it to a mooring there and make sure it doesn't drift away.
Okay.
And then I'll look at Danforth like, what should we do? Should we go after them?
First, we need to sound the alarm. Let people on watch know that there's blood on this, and we need to round up the posse and go towards the bouncing light up the hill.
Well, you don't. I mean,
on the island's us, isn't it?
Yeah. As far as letting anyone know, that's like you don't have there's blood on this boat signal rocket to fire.
Oh, I thought Norwegians were on. Some of them were on shore with us.
No, not at this time.
Okay.
Not at this time. And everybody, give me a luck roll, please.
Oh boy. This is where the brown dice crap out on me. I know it.
92.
Woo! I got a 51 out of 75.
I got a 24 out of 45. Thank you, brown dice.
I just needed one success. There is a shortwave, and it is connected and wired up. So I got 2 successes. So there was a shortwave, and it is wired up. The luck is with you guys.
Okay, we'll radio back to the boat and let them know that we have the other motorcraft and there's blood on it, and someone is running into the center part of the island, heading up the mountain.
it's kind of confused. You don't speak Norwegian, and the guy who can speak Norwegian is not, he's laid out.
Your shot.
Yeah. You know what? Give me give me we'll give you a Latin roll.
No, 84.
Yeah.
I don't understand you.
Yeah, it's all just conts and it's crammed together. You just
Is Danforth or not Danforth, but Miles able to move? Can we get him over there to the radio? Or
Oh, absolutely,
okay,
absolutely.
I'll run and grab him.
Okay,
And translate for me.
I'm
I know your head hurts, but come along.
My head is splitting.
definitely going to need the roll, please.
All right. So what do I got? I got to make a language check.
A language check, please. Yes.
Yeah, and it's only 31. Let's see what happens. 40.
It's close. It's close enough. You get fragments of conversation. Words like damage control, seacocks opened, mild lists. We are holding our own.
And I can talk back.
Yes. Yeah. In broken Norwegian and broken English, you're basically able to get that someone has sabotaged the ship. It's probably not in any danger of sinking, but
Right,
they have
not taking on water.
It's probably not in any danger of sinking. They have bigger fish to fry, and you'll have to hold your own for the time being while they deal with that. If they have to abandon ship, which they don't think so, they will. They have longboats they can row ashore,
Okay.
assuming the weather holds.
Damaged.
Assuming the weather holds.
We're on our own for a while, possibly forever.
Danforth, are you ready to go after this crazy person?
Yes, if there's a killer on the island, then a saboteur at the very least, then we can't sleep. It must be dealt with immediately.
Will you join us, Professor Smith?
I'm on the way. Just tell me where to go. I'll be there.
Okay. Gather up our gear.
Danforth is loaded for bear.
Roll me back to my spot unless you think you need me.
We'll take him back to his bunk.
Okay.
We'll give him his pistol to make sure that he's got some protection.
To make sure I can use it on myself.
Yeah.
Okay. So, folks, that is where we're going to wrap for the evening. Now, next weekend, or next week, rather, we're rolling on all the way to the conclusion to episode 4 of Let's Play Call of Cthulhu. The investigators have found themselves at the far end of the world, but who will survive and what will be left of them?
Nothing and no one.
Nothing and no one. That's the spirit. I hope everyone has enjoyed tonight's episode. My players, our audience, thank you everyone for tuning in this evening. Yeah, listen, if you just stopped by, you came here from Twitter, you came here from other social media, and you haven't, please do click the subscribe button and do click the bell icon for notifications, because we do fun content like this year round, and we play lots of different games. We've got AD&D on Monday, Classic Traveler on Tuesdays. We're doing this on Friday. I'm sorry, Classic Traveler on Wednesdays and AD&D on Tuesdays. And we're doing this on Fridays to the end of October. And then we'll pick up with something else. There's a big underground push for us to return to Gamma World. I hope you guys know who are in the Friday night Gamma World game. So,
BOGO Jorts. BOGO Jorts.
All right, guys, have a wonderful evening. And yeah, to the audience, I love you guys. Be good to each other. Thank you for swinging by. Have a great one.
Good night, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.